Welcome to RFK Stadium in the nation's capital on a cool, damp autumn evening. You heard Joe Theismann a moment ago. The Washington Redskins are looking forward to the rest of the season as a new season for them. And, well, they might, because the Eastern Division of the NFC looks like this. Dallas losing to the Giants yesterday. The Cardinals losing to the Rams. Three-way tie at the top. Washington can make it four-way if they can win tonight over Atlanta. And to do so, Don Meredith, you would have to think Washington will have to go back to their winning ways, and that means what, man? This man, John Riggins.
This man, John Riggins, you're absolutely right. He's going to have to stick very close to the Hogs, as they say. The big front guys, big offensive linemen, they're going to have two new faces. George Stark is out. Joe Bostic is out. So that's what he's got to stick close to.
They go against Atlanta. They're 3-6, and OJ, 3-6. You know about those kinds of years.
Well, they're going to have to do just the opposite of Washington. They're going to have to throw the ball. They've been throwing a lot of short passes, playing a ball control type of offense. Thus far this year, they've only scored 27 points in the last 3 games. So much like your Giants last week, Frank, they're going to have to throw the ball often, and they're going to have to throw the ball downfield if they're going to have a chance here tonight.
Easier said, of course, than done, because Atlanta has been racked with injuries, as have the Washington Redskins. As we look deep to our left, Atlanta will be receiving the kickoff. Sylvester Stamps, a rookie out of Jackson State with a lot of speed, drops back for Atlanta. Atlanta, as I mentioned, 3-6, and the Redskins 5-4, a win tonight, and they tie it 4 ways in the Eastern Division of the NFC. And Jeff Hayes, the punter, a fine athlete, will do the kicking off tonight for Washington. Mark Mosley, of course, is their renowned place kicker. Set to go. Stays on his feet out over the 15, close to the 18-yard line, where Steve Bartkowski will bring out the offensive unit for the Atlanta Falcons. Bartkowski, 1 touchdown pass in the last 3 games. He had 9 in the first 6 games. He is 4th rated in the NFC. There is his offensive unit. Gerald Riggs, of course, has replaced William Andrews, one of the great backs ever to play in this league. Andrews lost just prior to the opening of the season with a knee injury, but Riggs is not that much of a loss. But they have lost also 4 weeks ago, Billy White Shoes Johnson. Andrews and Johnson represented half of their offense of a year ago, so they are decimated on offense. A lot of time, but no receiver, and down goes Bartkowski. A lot of pressure coming from Gerald Grant, the defensive right tackle. There is a loss of 8. Let's take a look at the defensive unit as it will line up for the Redskins. They have 33 sacks coming in tonight, so they now have 34. There they are. Very strong. You know the names. They're familiar. They've been in the last 2 Super Bowls. The leading sacker on the ball club is Monty Coleman, the linebacker. At the corners, Darrell Green and Vernon Dean. There was a loss of 8. It'll be 2nd down and 18. As Bartkowski now back inside his own 10-yard line. Alfred Jackson comes into the game. Wide receiver for Atlanta. Draw play. Riggs. Fumbles the ball. And the Redskins cover it. This is what they have not been doing in the past few weeks. They have been unable to get the turnover. They get one early tonight. They get it inside the 15-yard line. It was Ken Coffey who was in there on the prevent defense that comes up with the football. We'll see it well from the reverse angle.
It's not a good omen for the Falcons. They played Pittsburgh last week. First play, they fumbled, picked it up. Pittsburgh runs it in for a touchdown. See Big Dexter. They're glad to have him back. Dexter, man, that caused the fumble. I didn't see who covered it. Did you?
Ken Coffey.
Ken Coffey.
That is the 6th fumble in 2 games by Darrell Riggs. And you're right, Don. He fumbled early in the going against Pittsburgh, and Dwayne Woodruff of the Steelers took it back 65 yards for a touchdown. That changed the tone of that game. Inside the 15, the Redskins 1st and 10. The quarterback, of course, Joe Theismann, and of course, this is the big man, John Riggins, right side. He pops it up, and who gets it? They're still fighting for it. Theismann got in there, and I think Atlanta's going to have it. Don Smith jarred the ball loose from Riggins, and out comes David Fry, and 2 turnovers back-to-back, and Atlanta has the football back almost where they were following the opening kickoff.
Well, seeing Riggins fumble is almost like seeing an eclipse. I mean, it's very rare. I think he's only fumbled maybe twice in the last 400 or 500 carries. He's really an amazing running back. Well, 0-0. We'll be back in a minute.
Jarred it loose. David Fry, a free agent out of Purdue, is in that lineup tonight because of an injury to John Rady. Gets the recovery, and Atlanta has the football back at their own 17-yard line. Bartkowski out once again. Jackson is in motion on 1st and 10. The counter play goes back to Riggs on the left. Riggs, a real powerful runner, gets out to the 20-yard line. in the arms of a couple of Redskins. A gain of 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. Let's go back to that Redskin fumble. Watch number 65, bottom of your screen. He'll get to Riggins on the pursuit.
Riggins is trying to decide what arm he wants to put the ball under. He didn't see Smith, obviously, and Smith just got him when he had the ball in front of him and slapped it right out of his hand.
Theismann hurls his rather fragile body in there.
Looks like he hurt his thumb, too, when he got up.
He has a sore thumb on 2nd down and 7. Fired out to Benson, the rookie from Purdue, the H-back, as they like to call him. He has close to first down yardage out over the 25. He'll be about a half a yard to a yard short. Ken Coffey and Darrell Green were there defensively for Washington.
It's nice seeing Benson run some pass patterns at Purdue. He was more than decent receiver. If you saw him a few weeks ago when we had this Falcon team against the Rams, he was blocking. He was trapping the cars to the defensive tackles.
Tell Jack Youngblood about it.
He wasn't he?
Oh, he popped Youngblood a couple of times. Willie Kern may not be back, an injured wide receiver for Atlanta, and they can ill afford to lose Curran. They are down to a couple of wide receivers. 3rd down, short yardage. Riggs, and he's powerful, 230 pounds he weighs. He perhaps runs as hard as William Andrews, but he's not the complete football player, at least at this point in his career, that Andrews was. Andrews, as I mentioned earlier, out before the start of the season, gained over 1,500 yards a year ago, but he had 59 receptions, and Andrews was a superb blocker.
That's the key, I think, Frank. They don't have that little drop-off back that can throw that pass. Last year, the running backs made a big dent in that passing game.
At the 29-yard line, 1st down and 10, Atlanta. Alfred Jackson, who probably should not be playing tonight. He's in there because of the injury to Curran. And that will be Stacey Bailey out on the left side. Bailey with good numbers coming into tonight. He is a professional caliber wide receiver, no question about that, averaging just under 19 yards. He's caught 5 touchdowns. He has great speed. Let's look from behind.
He's an excellent receiver from San Jose State. They don't like to run him over the middle because he only weighs 157 pounds, if you can believe that.
I bet he doesn't like to run over the middle either.
That was Vernon Dean making the stop, but not until Bailey picks up the 1st down out over the 40-yard line. Riggs, the single setback offense. Turns the corner. Vernon Dean up there quickly, as was Curtis Jordan. I'll tell you just quickly, as we look at Dan Henning, the 2nd-year coach, who coached here under Joe Gibbs in 81 and 82. But Alfred Jackson is in the game tonight with a very sore shoulder. Billy Kern had started. We've already told you that Billy White Shoes Johnson, who was injured against the Rams a few weeks ago, out for the season, unavailable, of course. Boyd Hodge, another wide receiver, is injured for Atlanta, so they are hurting out on the flank. 2nd down and 8 from the 42-yard line. Bartkowski back. Bartkowski will be sacked for the 2nd time in the early going. Mann was there, but that left side of the Redskins defense, Dave Butts and Charlie Mann. Loss of 12 this time.
They really get to, they want to pass, they want to throw the ball, but one of the things they've had a lot of trouble with this year is Steve's not what you call your most mobile quarterback. They've really been getting to him a lot. Got to him a lot last week.
Don, you mentioned William Andrews earlier. That was a case where they would dump that ball off to him.
That's right.
3rd down and 20. I mentioned the problems out on the outside, the wide receivers for Atlanta. Arthur Cox, the starting tight end tonight, came down with a groin muscle pull, so they're starting a rookie from Southern Mississippi, a tight end, number 80, Mike Landrum. 3rd and 20. Throwing underneath. That's the youngster I spoke of, Landrum. The rookie gets out over the 45 to the 46, some 4 yards shy of the 1st down, and we'll see the punting unit now for Atlanta. That will mean Ralph Giacomo, and we watched him, Don and O.J., against the Rams a couple of weeks ago, and Giacomo can really bang it. Dropping deep will be Mike Nelms. Darrell Green goes back there with him, and one would suspect that in years to come, Darrell Green is going to see a lot more return duty. He has that unbelievable speed that you know of, O.J. 10:08 for the 100 meters. World class, no question. And Nelms takes a look at it at around the 20, and on a soft field, it drops at the 21. So we have 10:31 remaining in the 1st quarter. No score from the nation's capital. We'll be back in a moment. Part of the United States today has refused to hear the NFL's appeal against the lawsuit that would have taken the Los Angeles Raiders back to Oakland. There was no comment. They just refused to appeal. That will mean that the Los Angeles Raiders, I assume, will be in Los Angeles. And there, of course, is the ongoing battle for damages that were awarded in the original trial. some over $40 million that have probably grown well over $50 million with interest rates. That today.
All right.
Theismann is sacked about at the 10-yard line. And, of course, that decision by the Supreme Court will have some rather major effects on the world of sports, period, in professional sports.
Well, what made that play work for the Falcons is the fact that Al Richardson, number 56, got over near Rick Walker, who I think Theismann wanted to drop the ball off to.
Second down and 20. The ball back at the 10-yard line will give you the changes forced by injuries by the Redskins in just a moment. Theismann looks it over from just inside the 10-yard line. John Regan, single setback. Regan fires it out. It's incomplete. Calvin Muhammad, acquired a few weeks ago from the Los Angeles Raiders, slipped, and down he went. Let's take a look at that offensive unit. Over on the right side, they've made some major changes as we look at the skill positions, if you will. Calvin Muhammad, we just mentioned a moment ago, he has good speed. That's the Dallas Cowboys. They'll tell you, he scored on the first reception here, a long one. But over on the right side, where they are really troubled, George Stark, the veteran hog, if you will, has a sore knee. They have moved Mark May, the right guard, to right tackle. They have brought in Ken Huff to play left guard, number 61. Huff, a backup man, ordinarily, but he had 7 or 8 really good years with Baltimore before being acquired a year ago. So he's capable of the job. It's third down and 20. Atlanta showed blitz, dropped out of it. 5 looking into the slot, and Art Monk was there. There's one of your fine athletes. Along the lines of Tony Hill, Art Monk has about the same kind of size, 6'3", a little over 200 pounds. Great athlete up at Syracuse, not only as a receiver and a return man, but also rushed for over 1,100 yards up there.
Oh, boy.
He's turned out to be a one-receiver offense instead of a one-back offense because Art Monk had 53 receptions so far. The next closest receivers only had 12, so they really use him a lot.
Forrest Gahn or Charlie Brown for the Redskins with injuries, as is Alvin Garrett. Now, Kenny Johnson is dropped back for Atlanta. Jeff Hayes will kick from the end zone. Willie Curran ordinarily would have been back there, but he's been shaken up already tonight. Good kick by Hayes. He doesn't kick it far, but he hangs it up there forever. And when you do that, you get that kind of coverage, and you usually get a flag. Flag is down. That was a 45-yard punt, but it stayed up there an eternity. Our referee tonight is Red Cashin. Preliminary indication is that it will be going against Atlanta. Now we're having a little technical difficulty there with Red Cashin's RF microphone, but I do believe he said number 39. That would be Cliff Austin.
And Jeff Hayes has had a good job, done a good job all year. They put that ball up in the air to stay there. He ranks like 4th in net average around the league.
So Bartkowski will come back out for Atlanta, their third offensive possession, and we'll be back in just a moment. In 1981, offensive coordinator there for record-setting San Diego Chargers, Joe Gibbs. And Noah Theismann had suffered a sprained thumb in practice a couple of days ago, and he has got an ice pack on that thumb right now. He got involved in a scramble for the ball early on. This is Riggs on first down and 10. Atlanta working from the 33-yard line. He gets the line of scrimmage and maybe a half a yard out of it.
Good pursuit by that whole Washington defense. Dexter Manley's going to be a big help, I think. Get him back in that line.
So getting back to Joe Theismann, that was on his left hand, so it shouldn't affect his throwing, but it may affect his handoffs and some of his ball handling in the backfield.
And taking the snap. Taking that snap.
At the 33-yard line, just over the 33-yard line, Atlanta, second down, call it 10. Arthur Cox, 88, slips over to the left side, the big tight end. That's Benson in motion. Bartkowski.
Look at there.
Down with it is Alfred Jackson. And that was almost picked off, but as it turned out, it turned into quite a reception. Let's take a look at it again. Again, you give Bartkowski time, and he's going to thread the needle.
Well, Vernon Dean, number 32, leads the NFC in interceptions, and I think he thought he was going to have number 7.
I think he did, too. He was going for it, wasn't he?
The first down for Atlanta, 42-yard line of the Redskins. No score. 8:54 remaining in the first quarter. Game the Redskins need to win tonight to stay up at the top of the NFC Eastern Division. Riggins, left side, and he is having tough sledding tonight as he gets down close to the 40 for a gain of maybe a couple.
Well,
Big Riggs out of Arizona State, first-round draft pick 3 years ago.
Big Riggs is not going to get wealthy running against this Washington defensive team. I think they're rated number 2 in the entire NFL in stopping the run.
Well, Atlanta said they want to throw when they got here anyway, so maybe they just go ahead and just throw.
And they are rated last in the NFC against the pass.
See that? Throw.
Yeah. Put it in the air. If you had the receivers, perhaps they would be thinking more in that direction. They have really been hurt with the injuries on the outside. 2nd and 8. Riggs, left side. The big man powers inside the 40-yard line, but held to a gain of a couple. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
You know, the weather is an ideal night for football. It's relatively dry in the air, but it did rain last night, and I think the surface of this field is a little moist. I noticed Calvin Mohammed, when he ran that pattern, he fell, and I saw a couple of defensive backs fall trying to make big cuts. So it could hurt the runner.
You saw Riggs come out. A year ago, that would not happen with Atlanta because William Andrews is such a fine receiver. But they bring in a receiver to replace Riggs on the 3rd and long. Bartkowski going for Jackson.
Close.
Near the goal line,
Close.
Anthony Washington, the nickelback, was right there.
Close, Tony, close.
I tell you, if Albert Jackson was a good basketball player, you know how you go up and draw the foul?
Yeah.
He could have maybe drew the foul on that. Let's take a look at him. You see him start leaning away from the ball. Now, if he would have went straight up, watching number 85. Now, if he would have went straight up for this ball, I got to believe he would have been knocked down by Anthony Washington.
I think he was knocked down anyway by him. Way to go, Alfred.
On 4th down, out comes Giacomo. Nick Luckhurst, the field goal kicker for Atlanta, stays on the bench. It would be a 55-yard effort. Giacomo pooches it down, looking for it to go out of bounds, and he catches a beauty right at the 5-yard line. Wow, Giacomo. For the Redskins, we'll have a 1st and 10. The ball at their own 5-yard line. Midway through the first quarter, we have no score.
Joe Theismann of the Washington Redskins has passed for more than 300 yards in each of his last 4 appearances on Monday night. And that's a Monday Night Football record.
Redskins at their 5-yard line, 1st down and 10. We saw Theismann with an ice pack on that left thumb. You see the tape there. He did it in practice. We asked him, how will it affect his play? And how he got it.
Well, we had an exchange in practice towards the end of practice, and John and I just had a collision. And I was handing off, and he ran into me, and I just jammed my thumb a little bit. It won't affect my play at all tonight. It's going to be, it's been fine. I've practiced the last couple of days with it. The reports in the newspaper are really a joke, and it's a shame that they allow journalism like that to go on. I think it gives every journalist a bad reputation to speculate and make up stories about some off-the-field altercation. It was obvious. The coach said it happened in practice. I said it happened in practice. Everybody saw it happen in practice, and they want to speculate. And I think it really is. It's a real black mark to the paper that reports it.
I wonder how he hurt his thumb, OJ. I mean,
he was really beside himself about that because Joe's had a tough year.
He's had an interesting
personal
year.
life.
Yeah.
And he did actually hurt it, handing off to John Riggins. The John that he referred to, of course, John Riggins in practice. You saw Riggins pick up 5, so it'll be 2nd down and 5. The ball near the 10-yard line for the Redskins. Riggins looks that right side and struggles in the arms of Atlanta Falcons, but he is out close to a 1st down, dependent upon where it is marked. Could be just inches short.
Saw big Mark May trying to get out in front of him, and John actually kind of ran into Mark there for a little bit. Frank mentioned earlier Mark's playing a different position. It's kind of nice when you got those guys that can shift around and play different positions, but I happen to think it may throw a little bit of that timing off. You know, they get used to running behind the same guards and tackles. Am I right about that or not?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. But when you're 6'6", 290, you can play anywhere up front.
3rd down, short yardage. They bring Wansley in. He usually blocks out front of Riggins. Riggins this time over the left side. He wants the 1st down. He's hammered there, but he moves behind Big Joe Jacoby and Russ Graham over the left side.
David Fry laid a good one on him, didn't he? David is excited about it.
David Fry is not big. He's only 6'2", 213 pounds, but he will really give you a hammer.
Look at this Washington offensive line. When you run behind them, the line of scrimmage is maybe 3 or 4 yards downfield. See, before he comes up to a defensive man, the Washington offensive line has already got him 3 yards. I can run behind that.
Oh, you can't either.
Well, I could have.
Would you call that a basic football fundamental position that David Fry was in to deliver that blow?
He didn't.
First down is at the 16-yard line for the Redskins. They move behind Riggins. That's how they have moved over the past 3 years. And they did so, arriving at 2 Super Bowls.
All right.
Theismann, with a good string, fires it out to Art Monk. Tough pass to throw. Theismann had enough on it to get it there. Short of the first down by about 3.
I tell you, sometimes you see Theismann, Don, and you think of Bartkowski, he has a rifle for an arm, but sometimes Theismann will throw a ball like that as well as any quarterback I've ever seen.
I tell you, particularly last year before last, and last year too, I think Joe was on a streak of about 8 or 9 games that I've never seen anybody throw a ball any better than he did.
Redskins coming off a 37-13 loss to the Giants, and they could only move the ball for some 250 yards a week ago. 2nd and 3, Theismann fires it, and it's complete, and it goes in there to Calvin Muhammad, and the speedster acquired from the Raiders a few weeks ago picks up the first down. He's out close to the 35-yard line.
Back on that Joe throwing, I think Joe learned to throw at a really kind of an older age. I've always felt this is kind of funny, but I think you either know how to throw or you don't know how to throw. You can kind of learn a few techniques, but he has just worked and worked and worked, and I think he became a much better passer. I don't think he was that good when he first started playing.
Well, maybe Canada helps because they throw the ball an awful lot up there.
Just inside the 35-yard line, the Redskins, 1st and 10. 4 minutes remaining the first quarter, no score. Riggins bowls ahead, and he's having tough going tonight. Out over the 35, he'll get a yard and a half out of that. We'll call it 2nd down and 9.
You know, we talk about Canada. Joe did play a few years up there in Toronto, I guess it was. Warren Moon was another quarterback. When he came out of college, they felt he may not have had the arm to play in the NFL. He went to Canada, and now they say he has a great arm.
Theismann played 3 up in Canada. The Redskins under George Allen gave a first-round draft pick to Miami to get his rights when they brought him here in 1974. He watched for years behind Jurgensen and Kilmer. Riggins taken down once again and finished.
His yards are hard yards. When you look at the top rushers in the history of the National Football League, top 15 rushers, he's the only rusher in the top 15 who does not have at least a 4-yard per average rush, and he's averaging a little under that, but he's made some hard yards. Look at that one.
Well, those hard yards are those 3rd and 1s and those goal lines. That's why he scored so many touchdowns. He has the NFL record for one season, 24 last year, and that's running that ball in from the 1. Those are tough yards.
And it's a revamped offensive line. The center, Pro Bowl center, Jeff Bostic, out for the season. May has moved from guard to tackle, replacing Stark. Huffins at right guard. It makes a major difference. 3rd down and 10. Theismann will go down. The blitz is on.
There he is
it was
again.
Al Richardson, the weak side linebacker. Straight shot at Theismann. The sack is all the way back, close to the 22-yard line. A loss of 12.
When you're supposed to have somebody open, when you don't have enough people to block the guys that are coming for you. So you had somebody open, but Joe just wasn't able to pick him up.
It is true. You juggle that offensive line with the loss of Stark and Bostic. They have actually made 3 changes because May is a much better tackle than Ken Huff would be. So there are 3 changes in that offensive line, and the tight end, Don Warren, is playing hurt tonight for the Redskins. Jeff Hayes to punt. Kenny Johnson, who was a rookie 4 years ago, used to return punts, has not done so for the past 3 years. He's back there. Hayes had to hurry it. And it does take a Washington foul. Johnson up close to the 35-yard line. It'll be 1st down and 10 Atlanta.
All right.
Dyson almost got to Jeff Hayes for the block. Temper is flaring just a bit. There's a lot on the line for the Redskins tonight. Theismann said at the very top of the show, this is a new season. And for this man, a lot of pressure, a lot of heat down in Atlanta by perhaps those who do not understand. When you lose people of the stature of William Andrews, Billy White Shoes Johnson, representing half of your offense, it's tough to stay alive.
Go at it when the 7-3 Raiders take on the 8-2 Seahawks, live at 9 Eastern on ABC.
On election eve in the nation's capital, one would suspect, if you believe all those polls, a few miles from here, people are resting rather easily. And we'd like to invite you to be with us here on ABC for election night coverage tomorrow night. Peter Jennings, and of course, what would election night be without David Brinkley? They'll be updating you on all the results as they roll in tomorrow evening, and you're going to hear from both of them at halftime tonight, along with taking a look at some of the highlights from yesterday's play. Frank Gifford, Don Meredith, and O.J. Simpson. The Atlanta Falcons have a 1st and 10 at their own 34-yard line. 2:07 remaining in the first quarter. We have no score. Stacey Bailey, top of your screen. He's the class receiver for the Falcons, and they're just about down to him. And he's going to get a look-see. Working against Bernadine, who's stride for stride with Stacey Bailey. And if nothing else, that should get the secondary's attention. Bartkowski has been criticized over the past couple of weeks for refusing to go deep. Tried to hang one up there. Bernadine with good coverage.
Well, it makes O.J. happy. Remember, he was trying to get him to throw deep all night long at Atlanta. Did you like that one?
Well, I read what Coach Dan Henning said in the paper in L.A. the next day, that the Rams gave them the short pass. Well, in the NFL, you just can't take what they give you. Sometimes you got to go out there and take it.
That's good. I'm telling you, you're going to be hot tonight.
At the 34-yard line, 2nd down and 10.
Go get it.
Haley goes left again. Out to the right is Alfred Jackson, playing with a very sore shoulder because Willie Kern, the other wide receiver, went out in the first series for Atlanta tonight.
All right.
That's Riggs. Bulls for about 3 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 7. Here's Jim Lampley.
Well, Frank, for those who may not have heard it yet, there is a coaching vacancy in Tampa Bay effective at the end of the season. John McKay resigning today, effective the end of the 1984 season. The only coach the Buccaneers have had since their entry into the league in 1976. 42 wins, 88 losses, 1 tie with 6 games to go. Cataract surgery earlier this season. He'll have to have further surgery after the season is over, and all of us who've known him wish him good luck in the future. Frank?
3rd down and 7. The ball just outside the 38-yard line of the Atlanta Falcons. Bartkowski, the blitz is on. He has the time, and he fires and it's complete out to his wide receiver. That's Stacey Bailey, who that time with the blitz on, Vernon Dean knew he would not have protection inside. He had to give Bailey, with the great speed, a little more distance than he would have liked to, and Bailey comes down with the 1st down at midfield.
Well, I like to echo what Jim Lampley just said. Send my best to Coach John McKay, who was my coach in college. Had me carry the ball 35 times a year one year. Every time I got tired, he said, "What's the big deal? It's not that heavy."
But he likes to carry it, and O.J. is fun to watch run.
Not that heavy.
At midfield, Atlanta. Tough defensive battle thus far, if you've just joined us. Bartkowski. Wide open. It's Arthur Cox.
Oh, no.
I don't believe that.
Oh, no.
Arthur Cox, we mentioned earlier, very sore groin, but that one, Bartkowski almost caught for him.
Poor baby.
You watch Arthur Cox 88 and Cliff Minson number 87. They bumped into each other. They're on the same team. Then Arthur went right down the field. He was all by himself.
Oh,
well,
Arthur.
He's 6'2", 255 pounds. Well, I don't know. He should have had this one, that's for sure. It was right there, perfectly thrown ball. Just didn't hold on to it. Has 19 catches this year.
Yeah, that will make a tough plane ride home because he would have at least got inside the 10-yard line with it. No one near him. 2nd down and 10. Get a young receiver like that, you should come back to him relatively quickly. Griggs to the right side. Boy, and I'll tell you something, he really booms into Ken Coffey. I haven't seen many backs, O.J., that have come in that runs as hard as Gerald Riggs runs. He weighs 230.
That's the surprising thing to me. He doesn't look that big. You know, he looks, I'd say maybe 215, something like that. But at 230, he can turn that corner.
Well, you know, he's from Arizona State. He led the Pac-10 in rushing his senior year there. He's learned a few tricks from William Andrews. When you look at him running inside, he gets real low. He got a 1st down earlier in this game, and it really wasn't much of a hole, but he went underneath the defensive players.
3rd down and 5. Stacey Bailey put to the right this time, Bartkowski. Looking for Bailey once again, and this time Bartkowski under pressure, underthrows. It'll bring up 4th down. And I'll tell you, tempers are a little edgy out there.
But isn't it funny? There's no way they can hurt each other, but I love to see them push and shove. It's like two great big old bullies in the... This is my territory. No, it's not. It's mine. Push and shove, and nobody gets hurt.
Mike Nelms has dropped for the Redskins with 17 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Giacomoro on to punt. Came in as the second leading punter in the NFC. Giacomoro looking for the right sideline. Nelms takes it at the 7. And Nelms works it out to the 15-yard line. A little breathing room for the Redskins. I want to remind you, live at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Central Time, and 8 o'clock Pacific. Thursday, November the 15th, a real happening from New York City. It's the golden night in boxing history as 5 members of the 84 United States Olympic boxing team make their professional debut. There'll be Mark Breland, Pernell Whitaker, Meldrick Taylor, Evander Holyfield, and Tyrell Biggs, all on a spectacular card. You don't want to miss it. Thursday, November the 15th, live at 8, 7 o'clock Central, right here on ABC, just as you saw it in this past summer at the Olympic Games in Los Angeles. They mark it at the 16-yard line. First down and 10, Washington. They'll be able to get a play off before the first quarter expires. Redskins on a 2-game losing streak. The Falcons on a 3-game losing streak. That's Muhammad in motion. Riggs with that little counter move. And Don Smith read it. Stepped in the block. The ball is loose and there's a scramble.
Now that could have been another cost. I tell you that Riggins that's 2 tonight.
I tell you, he was shocked to see Don Smith in his face that time. He ward off the blocker and was right on him in the backfield.
That's the end of the first period. No score. Tough, hard-hitting football game from the nation's capital. We'll be back with the second quarter in a moment. Passer in the National Football League a year ago, coming into tonight. He was a 4th-rated passer. Lost a lot of offensive help. So too have the Redskins. What I have not dwelled on is the fact that Joe Washington has not been available for several weeks. He was the man that Washington changed gears with offensively. When Riggins couldn't get it done, it was Washington. He is out. Should be back in a couple of weeks. Theismann on 2nd and 11. Theismann out over the 25. He'll get the first down up close to the 30-yard line. Tripped up by James Britt. The first quarter numbers. And they do not reflect a dynamite passing game for Washington. That -4 is because of the 2 sacks and a loss of 23 yards. Those are the numbers from the first quarter. And we showed you the standings, and tonight the Redskins are trying to join up with Dallas, the Giants, and St. Louis, all with 6-4 records here in the NFC East.
Do or die for 4-way time.
Art Monk, bottom of your screen. Play action by Theismann. Theismann with a shot to Don Warren, and Warren comes down with a Redskin first down near the 45-yard line. 14-yard pickup.
Nice little play action pass off of what has been in the past one of their most effective runs. You'll see the 2 big guys pulling to their right. A little fake to Riggins. They didn't come that time. Roll out and got some protection behind big Ken Huff. There's Warren open over the middle.
I hate to give you the impression these teams should be out here with a pipe and drum, but Don Warren was questionable tonight. So many injuries to both ball clubs. Warren with a deeply bruised thigh from the Giant game a week ago, but he comes down with the first down. First down and 10. 44-yard line of the Redskins. No score. We're in the second quarter. Again, play action by Theismann. Theismann steps out of bounds very wisely with a gain of a couple. It'll be second down and 8. We've got a beauty coming up a week from tonight. The Raiders go against the Seahawks. We'll be up in Seattle for that one. And how about Seattle?
Tell you, they're no fluke at all,
No, they're not. 2 shutouts in a row.
3 for the season.
And we know about the Raiders.
Yeah.
Great talent there.
They mad.
Boy, they ran into a buzzsaw in Chicago.
The Bears, when they played them, they got some quarterback injuries. We'll see how they all work them out. It's going to be a good ball game.
Mind you, who were with us earlier, the Supreme Court has denied an appeal from the National Football League without comment to hear the antitrust suit appeal. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is hearing the damages. Theismann underthrows to Riggins. It'll bring up third down and 8. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals out in California is hearing the NFL's appeal against the damages awarded by the jury in the original trial. The NFL says they are going to repetition the Supreme Court after the decision there. That's all taking place here in the nation's capital today.
Just got word, Frank, another injury that is not going to make Atlanta any happier at all, but their tackle Eric Sanders has hurt his knee, and the report is he'll be out for the rest of the ballgame.
Well, you know, around the league, every team has injuries right now, and it's a credit to these two teams with the injuries that they have. They're playing an excellent football game right now.
They're getting it going, aren't they?
At the 46-yard line, 3rd down and 8. That's Didier in motion, number 88. To Didier. As flag goes down, and Bobby Butler and Didier collided just as the ball arrived.
How about Didier's concentration?
Yeah.
Hit his shoulder pads, bounced over his head, was able to turn around and catch it. I think it's going to be defensive pass interference, though.
Well, that's a case of a guy 5'11", Butler, trying to cover a guy 6'5", in Didier, and a perfectly thrown pass that was up high enough that Butler just couldn't get
Pass
there.
interference. Number 23 on the defense. That penalty is declined. 1st down.
Let's take a look at it. You'll see that Butler had pretty good position on Didier, but the ball is thrown a little high, and he's just too short to get up there. Watch him.
Well thrown by Theismann to the outside, too. Had he thrown it just a little bit inside, Butler probably could have got a hand on it. And Didier, as Don mentioned, great concentration.
I love those kind of plays.
1st down is at the Atlanta Falcons' 42-yard line. Theismann rifles it to Muhammad, and Calvin gets inside the 30-yard line. That's another 1st down, and there's a late flag.
That was one of those things, looked like neither one of them get their footing over there, O.J.
Well, as I said, it rained here last night, and the surface is just a little moist, especially on this end of the football field.
First the foul, it'll work against Atlanta. That happened after the reception.
That may have been a hustling Don Smith, number 65, getting over there trying to help out, and he looked like he fell on the crowd, on the pile, rather.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 65 on the defense. 1st down.
Don Smith, and that will advance the ball down close to the 15-yard line. Redskins, now a serious threat. No score in the game thus far. Early moments of the 2nd quarter. Calvin Muhammad splits to the left. That's Art Mutt now moving out to the right.
Big 2 tight end situation.
And that means Riggins over the right side. Another flag goes down, and that could be holding. It goes right in that area where you usually get the holding. Al Richardson making the stop on Riggins as he hammered his way down to the 10-yard line. Is going to go against the Redskins.
It was a funny look. It looked like he said somebody hooked him in there.
Yeah, well, sometimes the lineman will do that.
Well, they hooked that arm, and it basically is holding.
Holding. Number 61 on the offense. Still 1st down.
That's Ken Huff in there, right guard, because Mark May has moved to right tackle because of the injury to George Stark. We talked about it earlier. Redskins lost their first 2 games of this season. They took on Miami. They were drilled by them. They lost to the 49ers in the game we brought you. Then they won 5 in a row, and the injuries caught up with them. They have dropped 2 in a row to the Cardinals, and last week to the Giants. They feel they desperately need this game tonight to stay alive in the NFC Eastern Division because they have a rather weak schedule coming up. On 1st and 20. As Art Monk is wide open, and Theismann is right on target.
What a nice job by Monk to get that 1st down.
Well, back to the original line of scrimmage.
That's right.
And he's inside the 15-yard line. Hey, Theismann had some smoke on this one too, Don.
Zipped it out there. He was wide open. I think Joe saw him a little late, so he had to throw it extra hard. But look at this effort. Man, he's just pulling him along, isn't he?
Yeah, that's Time Prodmore, and he's the guy in this secondary that has the reputation of being the hitter.
He hit him. He just didn't go down.
13-yard line. 2nd down and 8. 5 men in the secondary now for Atlanta. They bring in Scott Case, a rookie from Oklahoma.
There he is.
Still tight end. Didier. Or is it Don Warren?
I couldn't really see either. I think it's... Hey, there he is.
Didier. He's the one you have to watch down near the goal line because He came in tonight with 7 receptions and 3 touchdowns. Last year, he only had 9 receptions, and 4 of those receptions were for touchdowns. So he is the man that Joe looks for down here. O.J. pointed out earlier, he's 6'5", goes about 240, and he gets a first down, goal to go. They're inside the 1-yard line.
I'll tell you something else about Didier. He ran a 4.540 for a guy that big. He caught a lot of passes from Neil Lomax up at Portland State a few years back.
Do you believe Riggins?
This is why Riggins doesn't have a big yardage per carry.
His 10th touchdown.
Yeah, that's all he does is score.
And they love the Redskins here in Washington. They're on their feet. You hear the diesel horns. And that, of course, referring to John Riggins, who moves behind the now famous Hogs.
And I think I see another one of the Hogs limping down there. It was Mark May that time was slow getting up.
Yeah.
They can't lose many more of those guys.
Well, as you saw by our graphic, that's 92 touchdown. He just passed Franco, and he's now looking at the Big Jim, Big Jim Brown. I think that's 106.
Mark Mosley comes on. Theismann will put it down. And Darrell Grant will offer the snap. One of the few straightaway kickers remaining in football today. And Mosley splits the upright to 12:35. Remaining in the first half, the Redskins are on top 7-0. Lester Stamps lives dangerously in a big man's world. He's 5'7", 166 pounds, a rookie out of Jackson State. Jeff Hayes will kick off for the Redskins. Jeff Hayes does the kicking off I mentioned earlier for Mark Mosley. He did a lot of different things for North Carolina a few years ago, but he adds another athlete to the defensive unit of the kickoff team. And there's a battle for the football, and finally it's Kenny Johnson who gets the ball in a mix-up at the goal line. He moves out to the 13-yard line. It'll be first down and 10, the Atlanta Falcons. Election night tomorrow night, and be with us here on ABC. Peter Jennings will be there along with all of our people from around the country, and of course David Brinkley. I don't know how many that means for David Brinkley, but he is Mr. Election, and he'll be with us tomorrow night. So you be with us also.
Well, you saw Kenny Jackson. He'll get a demerit in the special teams film tomorrow because he took the ball away from Sylvester Stamp. Sylvester leads the NFC in kickoff returns. You let him run the ball.
Falcons are down 7-0. Bartkowski changing things up. He's tight end, Arthur Cox. Perhaps still remembering me. You better do something, Steve, like call timeout. Now that is a sign of total disorganization. People in there in the wrong positions. That should be automatic. You give a formation, they come out and line up in it. Okay. They waste a timeout. We'll be back. The Washington scoring drive with climax with a plunge of 1 yard by John Riggins. Art Monk and Joe Theismann teaming up a couple of times. Let's take a look at it. The run's in the red. Passes are in the black. And, of course, you can see the yellow. There are a couple of penalties in there that help considerably. And the Redskins are on top, 7-0, with 12:25 remaining in the first half.
First big run was by Theismann, who was back to pass, scrambled out, picked up a first down.
At the 12-yard line. Bartkowski is back. He's in trouble. Sacked for the third time tonight at the 7-yard line.
And his defense, he didn't have anybody open, and they were going to get to him sooner or later. That time it was sooner.
Good coverage, Vernon Dean on Stacey Bailey, and that's where Bartkowski was looking. And you saw number 72, Dexter Manley, one of the many injured Redskins, coming back into good health. He was right there to make sure that Bartkowski was down.
Yeah, he was looking for Stacey Bailey. That's where Stacey's weight, I think, is a handicap to him because he ran right into Vernon Dean, and he just didn't have the muscle to push off him to get that in pattern.
From the end zone. Batted away.
Wow.
And this time it's linebacker gets a big hand in there.
Oh, Bartkowski was hit by Monty Coleman that time. That's one of those you don't see him coming.
Mel Kaufman right there batting it away. That'll bring up third down and long, and against the Redskins. They are going to pin the ears back and come on this one.
Well, let's just hope the Falcons get a little tougher right now because they played an excellent first quarter. You know, when things go against you, they get a few bad breaks. They're only down by 7 points. You can fall apart. And I just hope this team stays tough because they're playing an excellent game thus far.
They've only scored 27 points in their last 3 games. They can ill afford to get behind by much. Riggs at least will get some area for Ralph Giacomoro to do his punting from.
That's really what he was trying to do, too, wasn't he? He was just trying to give him a little bit more room.
Well, the defense have been playing super defense for him, and I guess they're going to put the pressure on him. They've had the pressure on him for the majority of this season.
They have one legitimate wide receiver remaining, Stacey Bailey. Billy Watchoose Johnson is gone. Floyd Hodges injured tonight. Alfred Jackson is playing. He's playing hurt. And they have 2 youngsters at the tight end. Giacomoro.
Oh, he got a good one.
Oh, did he? This is Darrell Green. And the second-year cornerback who had a tremendous year a year ago gets it to midfield. And there is hitting going on tonight here at RFK Stadium. Good field position once again for the Redskins. Flag is down back at the 15-yard line. They'll sort this one out for you. So many flags on the special teams, the kicking units. Here's Red Cashin, our referee.
Holding during the kick. Number 39 of the receivers, 10 yards from where the ball was caught. Be first down at 10.
Otis Wansley holding for the Redskins, so they back it up to the 40-yard line.
Actually, where it was caught, he said, so it goes back even further than that.
Indeed it will. Now they move it back to the 30-yard line, so the Redskins, rather being at midfield, will be at their own 30. Redskins at their own 30-yard line. Joel Theismann into the night, ranked 9th in the NFC. He was 2nd in the league a year ago to his counterpart tonight, Bartkowski. Monk. And Art Monk with a good straight arm. Stays on his feet. Good effort. Out close to the 39-yard line. He is some athlete. Worked against James Britt. Used the straight arm. Reflective, perhaps, of his running back days at Syracuse.
Hard to imagine him as a running back, though, is it? When you look at his height, you don't see that many guys that are basically that tall. They list him as 6'3". He looks to me, he's closer to 6'5".
He had 102 receptions at Syracuse, gained over 1,100 yards rushing, and a bundle more returning kicks. In the 38 on 2nd and 2, Riggins with a big opening left side, out over the 45 to the 47-yard line. It'll be first down once again. One of the other injured Atlanta Falcons, that's Jeff Van Note, that fractured his right ring finger last week against Pittsburgh. They've got a couple of pins in there. He says he's ready to go if they need him. Considering what's been happening to Atlanta, he might be pressed into service. But the grizzled one, Jeff Van Note, now in his 16th year, says, I'm ready. On 1st and 10, Riggins now finding a little running room, and Riggins powers down close to the 46-yard line. He'll get 8 out of that to bring up 2nd and 2, and we'll pause 5 seconds and allow our stations to identify themselves.
Channel 4, WTAE-TV, Pittsburgh.
Back at RFK Stadium, when you take a look at Jeff Van Note, you can't help but think of one of the great ones that retired this past week, Kenny Stabler. I'll tell you, frankly, I'm going to miss him.
Oh, I really...
All the games, all the thrills.
I really miss him, too. He was one of my favorites.
He was very on Monday night.
Very entertaining, wasn't he?
2nd and 2, Dyson wants a bundle.
Almost a flag, yeah.
But a flag is down. It was Calvin Muhammad complaining bitterly that he was being held. And the flag is dropped, and they're going to move it all the way down close to the 7-yard line.
It almost looked, we'll see it again on a replay, but it almost looked as if he held after the fact. I don't think he would have caught it anyway, but he did hold it.
James Britt was covering.
First interference. Number 26 on the defense. First down.
And they call James Britt.
It's poor James Britt, number 26. You know, he's normally been a safety most of his life. They put him out there on cornerback, and it's, I believe, the toughest position in football to play. And as you can see, that's obviously a pass interference.
Oh, he knocked that right arm down.
Yeah, he sure did.
Penalty. Works out to 36 yards for the Redskins. Riggins, left side, just booming and powering away inside the 5-yard line.
Dan can't be real pleased right now.
Former William and Mary quarterback and into the collegiate level. Had 1 year with the San Diego Chargers.
You know, Billy Johnson's probably the guy they missed most of that offense because he could do so many things for them.
That's true. They survived the loss of William Andrews, and then when Johnson went down against the Rams 4 weeks ago, they really almost fell apart.
Well, I don't know what they're missing on the right side of their defense, but the Redskins are certainly taking advantage of that side of the football field, running to their left and throwing to their left. And they're doing it again.
It's a Denier, and he's inside the 1 yard line.
They see something over there, don't they?
Yeah, they see something over there because I would bet of the last 10 plays, about 9 of them have gone to the left side of their offense, which is the right side of the Falcons defense, and it could have something to do with the fact that James Britt is not an experienced cornerback.
Second-year guy, you're right.
3rd down, goal to go. Wansley joins Riggins. You will see Riggins. And the crowd knows it. Listen to them. Whoa! And Riggins was hit. The main tackle was applied by Kenny Johnson. He straightened Riggins up, and then they hammered him. Buddy Curry was also there. And meanwhile, if things are bad now, hang around, because that is the right knee of Steve Bartkowski, the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons.
And what's worse, I think the Falcons are I think there's a penalty against the Falcons. I think they're saying they lined up offside.
Nose guard, still 3rd down.
That's too tough.
When it goes, it goes.
Well, in all probability, we'll see Riggins once again. Down remains the same, of course. 3rd down and goal to go, and now Atlanta wants timeout. Atlanta calls timeout. They have 1 remaining. Remember, they had to expend 1 earlier when there was a foul up in their formation. Midway to the 2nd quarter, Washington over Atlanta 7-0. And Washington has the football. 3rd down, goal to go inside the 1 yard line. And the crowd, they'll come alive, anticipating Big John Riggins. Riggins does not get in, and now decision time, and one would suspect that you go again on 4th down. Several things to be considered. Atlanta very weak offensively over the past few weeks. If you should miss, you leave them inside the 1 yard line to the 1st down and 10. So Mosley will stay on the bench. On 4th down, the Redskins will go.
What a real charge it is in that defensive huddle, though. As you look at those guys, they're so juiced up, they stopped them one time, actually, for a little bit of a loss. The ball was closer to the goal line the time before.
Here's where you need that back that can go over the top. But Riggins has been the most effective back in football, maybe in the history of the football, and getting over from here.
Five-man, wide open, bootleg. So easy.
That's a good call.
Gutsy.
Really good call, though.
Let's see. Old ball-headed one. Y.A. Tittle used to do that.
Well, most defenses really don't defend for that, and particularly when they're that close, they're all trying to close off those gaps.
You know, you may have done that himself, because I heard him yell yellow 30, which is an audible run, and there was no receiver out there. Normally when a quarterback goes out there, there's a receiver he can throw to. He may have just kept the ball himself.
Mosley has the conversion, and the Redskins with 7:22 remaining in the half are on top 14-0 and in command. We'll be right back. 39 out of Iowa State, and in the 6 years, he's thrown at 60% with just about 140 attempts. So that's Mike Morawski. He's the quarterback for the Falcons at the moment. 1st and 10 at their own 17-yard line. Morawski makes good on his first attempt. Fires it over the middle. Mike Landrum, the rookie, comes down with the reception for a gain of about 5. And a reminder from Columbia, South Carolina. And we're out there, they've got themselves a football team down there. Saturday here, CFA College Football, 5th-ranked South Carolina, coached by my old teammate Joe Morrison, and one of only 5 major undefeated teams, and one of the surprising teams of this year. They'll take on 10th-ranked Florida State in the Battle of Southern Independence, looking for bowl bid. Live at 3:30 Eastern here on ABC. I'll be visiting with Joe this Thursday, and we'll hopefully be able to bring you Joe's thoughts at halftime of that game. Second down and 5, and Riggs out over the 25-yard line, close to first down yardage.
Well, on that play, they went back to, as we look at Bartkowski on the bench, on that play, they went back to that offense we saw against the Rams a few weeks ago, where they brought Cliff Benson in motion and he trapped the defensive end. Now, that's one way to slow those guys down on penetrating on running and pass plays. If you trap them a few times, they're going to peek before they come across that line of scrimmage.
And they are going to be measuring. I'm going to remind you, at halftime, Jim Lampley is here in Washington. We'll be talking highlights with you. And also, there will be a pre-election report from Peter Jennings and David Brinkley. And, of course, tomorrow night, they'll be on hand to talk election with you. And at halftime, we'll be looking at a final updated poll.
Mike Morosky steps in there. They've almost got him a first down.
I gave him to Iowa State a little earlier. He's actually from the University of California at Davis.
Yeah.
Well, he would have been good out there, too.
Sure, he could have played anywhere. Yeah, he could play either way.
He's 6'4" and 203 pounds. He's done a great job because Bartkowski, as I mentioned earlier, has been very durable over the past 4 or 5 years. Third down, you saw how much. Great. Good block. Look out. Darrell Green, the smallest man of the defensive unit for the Redskins, attacks Riggs at midfield, but it's first down Atlanta inside Redskin territory, a 23-yard pickup.
And if Darrell Green was not the fastest man on the field, Riggs may have been in the end zone. As you can see, he did a good job of getting outside. He picks up a block from his wide receiver.
Boy, strong.
And out of nowhere, burning, comes Darrell Green.
He is swift. That Green can move.
Remember, a year ago, season opener, Tony Dorsett running down the sideline. And Darrell Green came from nowhere to run down Dorsett, who has great speed.
Dallas didn't score a touchdown either.
49-yard line, first down Atlanta. They trail 14-0 with 5:39 remaining in the half. Morosky, wide open, Bailey. And we talked about great speed.
He covered some ground.
You see Darrell Green. Bailey had him beat 4 or 5 yards.
Not a badly thrown ball.
Not a badly thrown pass. And the great speedster from Texas A&I ran him down.
Yeah, he's definitely beat on this play.
Look at him. He's got like 2 or 3 steps on him.
Yeah. You can't coach this. This is one thing you can't coach is speed. I just look for the day when he's covering Ron Brown of the Rams.
You know what? Looking at it from that angle, the ball actually went through Stacey's hands. And if anything, it looked as if he may have had to slow down a little bit. So what we saw the first time, maybe the ball could have been thrown out a little bit further. But Green still's fast.
Bailey goes left. Jackson goes right. Top of the screen now, joined there by Mike Landrum, the tight end. Second down and 10. Morosky wide open is Bailey, and Bailey will have the first down inside the 40, close to the 35-yard line.
Nice job staying in the pocket that time.
I was going to say either the offensive line is blocking better or he's calmer.
Took that little
in the
step.
pocket.
Didn't that little step come up in there?
He had that big game I spoke of a year ago, replacing Bartkowski, beating Green Bay, throwing for over 300 yards.
Well, you know, you don't get a lot of playing time when you're on a team with Bartkowski, so you never really do what these guys can do. He's been there long enough to know the system.
At the 35-yard line, first down and 10 Atlanta. They're down 14-0. Riggs had a lot of Redskins.
Good way to tackle him. Hit him low.
Well, that's one of those plays you got to have total confidence in your blocking offensive line because that play was designed to go inside. I think Riggs may not have had as much confidence in the play as he should have, and he made up his mind to go outside before the play developed, and it was a little crease inside.
Time remaining in the first half. That was the good tackle made by Ken Coffey. At 190 pounds, taking on Gerald Riggs. Got him right at the line of scrimmage. Second down and 10. Morosky again. Looking for Bailey. The coverage this time, Bernardine. Third down and 10, and we'll see the additional defensive back come in for the Redskins. That'll be Anthony Washington. Tony McGee, who was Mr. Sack up in New England for so many years before coming here in 1982, comes in. He is a specialist in the pass rush. He wears number 78.
Oh, yeah, you gotta be kidding.
They have fun down here, don't they?
They really are rabid fans all over town. You know, everybody's really into this Redskin team.
Well, they won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago over Miami. They were blown away by the Raiders, but they got there last year for Super Bowl 18.
The only team in the National Football League to not make a 3rd and 10.
Until now.
They've made
Bailey.
one.
He has the first down. Morosky again staying right in the pocket, waiting for Bailey to uncover. Gets the first down near the 20-yard line.
Bailey, you know, he knows he has speed, and he was taking off. I can see him looking over his shoulder, seeing if he can see number 28. Is that 24 or 28 behind me? I think he thought it was 28, and he stopped. Now watch him. Now normally he figures he can run away at 157 pounds. I can run away from these guys, but maybe that's number 28, Darryl Green, on my shoulder.
They're going to have a special substitution and send Morosky in on 3rd and 10. Yeah.
Well, the way he's throwing, they're going to have a special substitution for the rest of the year.
Bailey now 4 receptions, 51 yards. First down and 10 inside the 20-yard line. Jackson in motion. Play action to Riggs. Morosky buys time. Out of time.
Got him.
And Morosky back to the line of scrimmage, steps out of bounds near the 18-yard line. Maybe he gets a yard out of it. It'll bring up 2nd down and 9.
Silly as it may sound, but a play like that kind of loosens the quarterback up when he hasn't played a lot. He gets out there, and you get the feel and let those natural juices flow. He's got to be a good quarterback, or he wouldn't be here even as a backup quarterback. The thing that they don't get to do is they don't get to play very much. But I'd say that he's probably pretty comfortable right now. Had a little success throwing the ball. He's got his team moving some.
Yeah, you know, you get a new quarterback in there, and sometimes you say, hey, guys, we got to toughen up. The main man is not back there. They have toughened up. They've been picking up the blitz. And I think he has the ability to buy time, and that may help him in a game like this.
Morosky started his drive at the 17-yard line. He's 3 of 5 and has kept it alive. It's 2nd down and 9. Riggs on the draw. Oh, and he will hammer you. Riggs held short of the 10-yard line. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 2. Frank Gifford, Don Meredith, O.J. Simpson watching a really hard-hitting football game.
But something has happened here. They seem to even be calling better plays.
I think it's because Morosky stepped in there and he says, I am the main man. Now then, listen up. Here we go.
3rd down and 2. Plays, of course, Morosky from the sideline. Even though he is the main man.
I'm still main man. I don't care what.
Sometimes those backup guys, the guys love them because they will change the play. Maybe he's doing that.
Quick count. And Riggs. It's going to be close.
Dan, I know. You're saying please.
Yeah.
Please.
It's up to the official. If he has size triple E feet, he will,
Coach Simpson, don't you think that maybe Atlanta would consider going for it?
They are going now to measure, but keep in mind, Bartkowski had to waste a first down with a bad formation.
A timeout.
They called, rather a timeout. They called another one with the Redskins down at the 1-yard line, so they only have one timeout remaining with 2:08 remaining in the half.
I'll tell you, Coach Simpson, with this team, I think I'm not going to have to make a decision.
That's a way to go.
First down, Atlanta.
I think they would, though, almost.
Well, I'm not going to tell you what I would have done.
You don't have to.
Now, they all know the numbers, but as I mentioned earlier, the Redskins, 2nd in the league against the rush. They are 14th in their conference against the pass, which is only last. San Diego has a worse record against the pass. So what do you think? They're going to put it in the air?
That's what I do.
Tight like this?
Yeah.
It makes it very difficult to do either. 2-minute warning. And we'll be back at RFK Stadium in just a moment. Growing list of injured players for Atlanta. Their fine quarterback Steve Bartkowski with the ice pack on the right knee. Meanwhile, Mike Morosky has come on, has moved the Atlanta Ball Club from their own 17-yard line. 12th play is this drive coming up, and the first down is inside Washington's 10-yard line. Redskins leading 14-0. Riggs. Wow.
Good move.
Good move.
Boy, you can hear it when he lowers that shoulder. He gets inside the 3-yard line. Just good, hard running.
Big Dave Butt took an inside charge on that.
Was that
Left
Rich?
the hole open.
And Rich Malott looked like had a shot at him and missed him too, but he turned it up in a hurry, made a good move.
A Market just short of the 3-yard line. And Atlanta will have second down goal to go.
These are the toughies.
Hey, if you want somebody to run it down here, there's nothing like a Gerald Riggs. But against the Redskins rushing defense, it'll be tough.
It looked to me that time that the Redskin defense shifted away from that particular hole where they ran the ball. They shifted back to what would have been their right.
Well, they could have
to the 2-yard line.
They could have what they call a right slant on.
Yeah.
Judging by the offense. I know the play before that they did have a right slant on because Butt beat his man inside, but Riggs was able to get outside of him real quick.
Third down goal to go.
Quickly, I should say.
They have one timeout remaining, as I mentioned a moment ago. Not a factor at this point.
Got him.
That'll be 6.
Yeah.
So Borowski came in for the injured Bartkowski, began that drive at the 17-yard line, threw the ball well, and Darrell Riggs, with the bruising style running, gets it into the end zone. So Atlanta has shortened up the Redskins' lead.
You know, that's got to really do something for him. Last week he came in, the game was pretty well over, but he did throw a touchdown against Pittsburgh. He comes back in here again tonight, and that was a beautifully executed drive. So if it was, if they don't want to give him the credit, take the credit anyway.
Here's Mick Luckhurst, and like Bartkowski a couple of weeks ago, who was suffering from back spasms, Mick Luckhurst has had his problems with back spasms over the past couple of days. Joe Pellegrini, who is in there for an injured Jeff Van Note, snaps it exact to Eric Sanders. Borowski gets it down, and we have a 14-7 game. Back after this from the NFL. And one of the great ones, Sonny Jorgensen, who was right next to us, doing the radio with Sam Huff for the Washington Redskins, and of course by the National Football League. Luckhurst will kick off. Mike Nelms is deep along with Keith Griffin. The Redskins have 3 timeouts.
Don't give him any room.
And that could change the thinking for the Redskins. They have a little breathing room. They're out close to the 33-yard line. They have 35 seconds remaining. They have 3 timeouts. And we'll be back at RFK Stadium in a moment. A well-conceived scoring drive that began at their own 17-yard line. Mike Borowski at the helm. He completed 3 of 5 attempts with 32 yards. And good, strong running from Riggs. We have a 14-7 game. 35 seconds remaining in the half. The Redskins on top. And the Redskins have 3 timeouts. Joe Theismann playing in his 145th consecutive game. We talked about the durability of Bartkowski. I remember when Theismann came in '74, Jurgensen and Kilmer were both here. Just in order that he could play, he started running back punts. First down and 10. Out of time for Theismann, and that's Jeff Moore, recently acquired. Good man out of the backfield. Had 9 receptions against the Giants a week ago. That time, however, incomplete. Reminder once again at halftime, Jim Lampley on hand with highlights from yesterday's play. And boy, there were some bruisers around the league. And of course, we will have a final look at a final poll from Peter Jennings and David Brinkley. Our Election Eve report.
Oh, Don, I hate these prevent defenses.
I do too. I say throw everything at them if I was defense.
Second down and 10. Theismann.
All right. I told you I love these prevent defenses.
Brett picks it off, and 21 seconds now remain. And Atlanta could get more out of it.
I love those
Prevent defense. That's when they're just saying that.
Atlanta has 1 timeout. We'll look at it again. Theismann trying to get it in, squeezing it into Archmont, and the prevent defense, sorry guys, was right there.
That's right. The 3 guys deep, and you see 5 guys coming across. That time,
Brett, they've been picking on him on the other side of the field most of the night.
Didn't know he was
on the
there.
left side, and he picked off a pass.
Again, Atlanta with 1 timeout.
All those
That
timeouts.
one you would think they'd want to conserve for a Luckhurst field goal attempt. They have 21 seconds remaining in the half. And they would be a fired-up football team if they could go in with additional points. They trail, at the moment, 14-7. Morawski. The ball is batted away, and Morawski covers at the 50-yard line. It was Dave Butts.
Big bad Butts. He knocked it out, didn't he?
And they used the final timeout. We're going to go right now to Jim Lampley.
All right, Frank, let's take a look at what happened in Soldier Field yesterday. The Bears, now under Mike Ditka, 12 wins in 16 regular season games, their best start since the 1963 championship season. They've done it with a brutal defense. 11 sacks a week ago, 9 more yesterday. This hit by Otis Wilson knocked Mark Wilson out of the ball game for the Raiders. Later, they knocked out his backup, David Humm. Today, the Raiders brought in journeyman quarterback Jerry Goldstein for a physical. Also, Walter Payton scored from 18 yards out for the first score in the game. Another 100-yard game, the 61st of his career, extending that NFL record. The one dark cloud for the Bears, they lost Jim McMahon for 4 weeks with a lacerated kidney. Will apparently have to go with former Kansas City #1 draft choice Steve Fuller, who hasn't thrown a pass since 1982. Back to you, Gift.
We'll see those Raiders next week against Seattle. There's James Britt, second-year man out of LSU from a year ago. And that's #1, he says.
LSU, they don't have the Chinese bandits anymore, do they?
No, they don't.
Oh, when I was a kid. That defense.
Morawski had the ball batted away by Big Dave Butts. He fell on it near the 50-yard line, so it's second down and 20. What he does not want to do is throw the interception.
No.
And he almost did. Monty Coleman stepped right in front of it.
Did you see Butts hit Morawski just about the same time he released that ball? He says, welcome. This is what you've been missing over there for 6 years. He rolled out very nicely. Butts was knocked down. He gets back up. Now he says, this has been going on for 6 years out here.
He weighs 295 pounds, Big Dave Butts.
He got most of it on top of Morawski, too, didn't he?
Well, when you have no timeout and you're nearing the end of the half, if you're going to throw the ball, throw it to the end zone.
Throw it deep, look for a defensive foul. I'm sure we'll see that.
There they are.
All 3 wide receivers, top of your screen. Bailey, Hodge, Jackson. This is just a prayer looking for the defensive foul. Wow. And out of the pack, it is Darrell Green.
Time is
Don't let
out.
him get over here. Don't let him get over here.
Field, sayonara. Darrell Green providing a few throws. Crowd on his feet. His time has long expired here in the first half. Darrell Green, his first interception of this season. For the Redskins, go to the locker room. I think they are feeling they are very fortunate following the interception by James Britt as they have a 14-7 lead. We'll be back with halftime activities in a moment.
Tonight's halftime is being brought to you by Apple Computer, makers of Macintosh, the business computer you already know how to use.
We are at halftime in Washington's RFK Stadium. After a pretty good half of football, the Redskins on top of the Falcons, 14-7. Now to halftime highlights. More and more, the AFC West becomes the NFL's most compelling division race. The Raiders now in some difficulty. The Broncos continuing to win. Yesterday, they became the first NFL team in 10 years to win a game without getting a first down on the ground. And the Seattle Seahawks, whom you'll see again next Monday night against the Raiders, rapidly emerging under Chuck Knox as one of the strongest teams in the NFL. In 15 years of ABC's Monday Night Football, never had a team followed a shutout on Monday night with another one the following Sunday. But last Monday, you saw the Seahawks shut out the Chargers here on ABC, and yesterday, they did the same thing to the Chiefs. The Seahawks posted the shutout with a defense that embarrassed 3 separate Kansas City quarterbacks and returned 4 interceptions for touchdowns. 2 of them by Dave Brown, 10th-year player out of Michigan. Originally a #1 draft pick of the Steelers, who gave up on him at the cornerback position and made him available to Seattle, where he has been an outstanding corner ever since. Second period, Seahawks were already leading 3-0 when Brown stepped in front of that pass from Kenny intended to Henry Marshall and ran it back 95 yards to give Seattle a 10-0 lead and, in effect, turned the football game around. 2 minutes later, Kenny would look to the right side. This time it was number 42, Keith Simpson, who stepped in front of the ball, picked it off, and went 76 yards for his second touchdown interception return of the season. Later in the game, Kenny Easley, the brilliant safety man, who also had 5 unassisted tackles, also returned an interception for a TD. And the offense did its part as well. Largent caught one pass to extend his consecutive game streak to 101. Just before halftime, Dave Craig scrambled to the left and tossed the ball backhanded to the tight end Mike Tice. That made it 31-0 Seattle and showed the resourcefulness that has made the Seahawks a real threat to win the AFC West. In Busch Stadium, the red-hot Cardinal offense finally had a bad day as they went up against the Rams, and their running game keyed by number 29, Eric Dickerson. Dickerson took the ball 49 yards down the left side here in the first period to set up a field goal that gave the Rams a 3-0 lead. All in all, more than 150 yards in the first half, 208, a league high for this season on the day. And the Cardinal offense produced only one big play all day. This bomb from Neil Lomax, 53 yards to Roy Green, that gave them a 10-3 lead in the second period. But through most of the afternoon, this offense was stifled by the Ram defense, led by inside linebacker Jim Collins and the ageless defensive end Jack Youngblood. Only one big passing play for the Rams, too, but it was enough. This touchdown pass from Jeff Kemp, 52 yards to Olympic sprinter Ron Brown, made it 13-10 St. Louis. Later, the Rams got 2 field goals after Cardinal fumbles to beat them 16-13 and snap the Cardinal winning streak at 4 games. Become the first team since the Minnesota Vikings in 1975 to open a season with 10 straight wins. As you look ahead to their chances to finish unbeaten, they play the Eagles, the Chargers, the Jets, the Raiders, the Colts, and the Cowboys, 4 of those 6 games at home. Yesterday, they won a game which had appeared for a long time as though they were going to lose against the New York Jets. In the Jersey Meadowlands, Dan Marino stood in against Mark Gastineau, and Miami offensive tackle Cleveland Green held Gastineau to just 1 sack. The game began typically for the Dolphins. Midway of the first period, Marino from the shotgun looked over the middle to number 89, the veteran Matt Moore, 37-yard touchdown pass. It was 7-0 Miami. But through the rest of the first half, the Dolphin offense would sputter, and the Jets took control. Just 2 minutes after the Moore touchdown catch, the Miami defense surrendered a first-quarter touchdown for the first time in 10 regular season games this year. Ryan to Wesley Walker, 33 yards. That made it 7-7. Another first. The Dolphins trailed at halftime 10-7. So Marino was going from behind as once again he stood in the shotgun in the third period and again looked to little Nat Moore. This gutty play of 20 yards set the Dolphins up at the 3-yard line. Woody Bennett scored the go-ahead touchdown. And in the second half, Marino shredded a patched-up Jet secondary for 272 yards. But the Jets had gone back in front 17-14 with 7:45 to go in the game when Marino got what turned out to be the game-winning TD. It was to Mark Clayton, his 10th touchdown catch of the year. The Dolphins were safe with their 15th straight regular season win.
RFK Stadium in the nation's capital, and Atlanta now trailing Washington 14-7. Atlanta has lost their quarterback Steve Bartkowski. They are now going with Mike Morawski. Had a couple of starts a year ago. I talked about the one against Green Bay. Then he came back a week later and started against these very Redskins, and he was 23 of 35 in that one, 272 yards, 3 interceptions, and he lost that one 37-21. But he put together a good 83-yard drive using Riggs and very selective passing when he was 3 of 7 for 32 yards. Bartkowski went out late in the second quarter, and they were applying ice packs to his right knee. I do not anticipate we'll see him coming back. Atlanta will kick off. Mick Luckhurst will put it in play. Mike Nelms is deep with Virgil C. Keith Griffin also back there, of the famous Griffin family. But this will be Mike Nelms from the 5-yard line. Nelms, good running out to the 25-yard line as we get the second half underway. 20 yards returned. And we anticipate, of course, Theismann with Riggins, and Calvin Muhammad and Art Monk with the 2 tight ends, Don Warren and Clint Didier. Joe Theismann, 9 of 14, 90 yards, had the 1 interception against the prevent defense. James Britt picking that off in the final seconds of the first half, but Atlanta was unable to capitalize. Near the 25-yard line, first down, Washington. Riggins, he's had success over on the left side, rambles for a couple to bring up a second down and 8.
It's not always true, Frank, but I think when a team that was up 14-zip and now the other team come back and score 7 right before the halftime, and you get the opening kickoff, I would think it'd be really pretty important for the Redskins to at least have a sustained drive, and preferably, of course, put some kind of points on there. But if they don't, I think the momentum, old fickle Mo, would shift back over with Atlanta at that time.
Riggins, uncharacteristically, fumbling twice in the first half. He's never fumbled 3 in one game. And just pulling ahead behind that revamped right side of the line. We mentioned earlier, Stark unable to go with a bad knee. Mark May has moved out to right tackle. Ken Huff has come in at right guard, and those are the first quarter numbers. That -4 by Washington caused by a couple of sacks that dropped Theismann for 23 yards in losses. And we'll now extrapolate into the first half numbers. Good, hard-hitting football game. That's what is not reflected by sheer numbers. The Redskins on the season, 5-4. They need a win tonight to move into a tie with the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Dallas Cowboys. Atlanta looking for self-respect. 3rd down and 3. Jeff Moore out of the backfield, and that's what they brought Jeff Moore in to do. He comes up short of the first down, however. We mentioned earlier the injuries that have plagued both of these teams. One of them is very costly to the Redskins. Joe Washington, who should be able to come back within a week or two. But Joe Washington was the man they counted on to change the gears for the Washington offense. Good running back, good receiver out of the backfield, and they brought in a couple of people. Rick Kane from Detroit, former Detroit player, and Jeff Moore to take up the slack for a loss to Washington. Moore short by a yard on 4th down. Kenny Johnson drops for Atlanta. Jeff Hayes on to punt.
He was short because David Fry made a heck of a defensive play.
Heck of a good play on him. Come on.
Another fine punt by Jeff Hayes. He gets it up there so high at the 11-yard line. Kenny Johnson. And when you can hang it up that long, you're going to get that kind of coverage. Johnson works it out to the 20, where it'll be 1st down and 10 for Atlanta. Steve Bartkowski has gone to the locker room. We'll see Mike Morosky at quarterback.
I like small cars.
We need more room.
Today, Chevrolet has a car for you, the midsize Celebrity.
Feel the room. Ride in style. Go in comfort every mile.
Enjoy midsize room with economy and a price that's surprisingly small. Celebrity.
Lots of stuff here. If this is today's Chevrolet, I like it.
And we need it. Ride today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy.
Live it.
Chevy.
When I launched this business a few years back, we were building mostly skiffs and dinghies. Now look what we're putting in the water. You know why this yard caught on? Because we do a good job at a fair price. We like Meisterbrow for the same reason. Sure, we could pay more for beer now, but this is a big, full-bodied taste without a big price.
Fellas.
Jim Mazzetti, formerly of the Atlanta Falcons, is the only player to kick 5 field goals in one game on Monday Night Football. Atlanta went on to defeat the Rams 15-7.
RFK Stadium, a very important game for these Washington Redskins. They feel very secure that if they can get by tonight with a victory, move into a tie with Dallas, St. Louis, and the Giants, that they're going to have pretty easy sledding. Because coming up for them will be Detroit, Philadelphia, Buffalo, and Minnesota before they meet Dallas and St. Louis. On 1st down and 10. Morosky had a lot of time and keeps his cool, gets it out complete to Riggs. One of the few receptions you'll see Riggs making. And he'll get about 7 out of it to bring up 2nd and 3. Those are the standings I alluded to a moment ago. And after tonight, the Redskins go against Detroit, Philadelphia, Buffalo, and Minnesota. Now, those are teams all under 500, and Joe Gibbs, as a head coach of the Redskins, is 18-0 against teams under 500. So the Redskins have a good stretch ahead of them, but they have their hands full tonight. They lead 14-7. We're in the 3rd quarter. Riggs.
Almost.
And Riggs up just over the 30-yard line. He'll be short of the 1st down.
Frank, are you in the proper frame of mind to accept a very sincere congratulations for your giant team? Are you in that kind of mood tonight? I mean, with a brick here and a brick there?
We've been talking about the bricks, but I'll tell you, they have come along. I'm really proud of Phil Simms. What he's gone through over the past few years with the injuries, and he's turning into a top-flight quarterback.
Well, I'd also like to take this time that, O.J., my favorite thespian.
Like I said, it was short.
Yeah, Frank's going to be, he's your guest star on Webster, along with our other old buddy, of course, Alex Carrot. But what a lot of folks don't know, they probably ask you, and they asked me if I was available, and of course, we were working a miniature golf tournament or something that we couldn't do it, but what do you think about him doing it?
Well, I think it's good for Frank. People will finally hear him do something other than his 3rd and 2.
That's this Friday night.
On the third inches on the 31-yard line.
That's right. Friday night, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, here on ABC, home of the Super Bowl 19. We'll see Frank Gifford starring on Webster.
I hate to think my life is confined to 3rd and 2. It is actually 3rd and inches.
And a way to go.
And now it is such
Riggs.
too bad. Too bad it's Gerald Green.
And the little one brings the big one down inside the 40, but Riggs now hopping through. Big opening. Crowd doesn't necessarily like that.
It's just too bad number 28, Gerald Green, was there, because Gerald Riggs will probably outrun every other member of this Redskins defense, except number 28, as we said earlier, 10.08, one of the fastest men in the world.
Did you see Arthur Cox? He looked around at everybody blocked. He put a high five right in the referee's face.
Happens so often when you are in short yardage. You have everyone up there. Riggs passed for 32 yards, over 100 yards. He had a 202-yard game opening the season against New Orleans.
Well, this is more impressive because this is the number 2 defense against the rush in the NFL.
Riggs gets a breather. Kane is in. On 1st and 10, Moravsky back. Gets it out to Benson, and the rookie from Purdue gets another first down inside the 25, near the 22. Rich Malott defensively for the Redskins, and the Redskins fans are getting upset.
It's because they sense old Fickle Mo has
I tell you,
they didn't make a first down that first drive.
From the last 6 or 7 minutes of the second quarter, I think Mo has been on the Atlanta Falcons side. They've really taken the game away from the Redskins at that point. They start handling them up front, and they're continuing to do that here in the third quarter.
Lynn Kane stays in for Gerald Riggs. Kane has been out with a full groin muscle. This is Kane, former USC tailback who had a big game against the Rams 4 weeks ago of 145 yards. Pulled a groin against the Giants the following week, and is just now getting back to form.
Lynn has always been an excellent runner. He was a fullback at SC. I think he gained more yards than any fullback in the history of the university. When you can think of Sam Cunningham, even Marcus Allen played fullback at SC 1 year.
Helped make Charles White famous there.
Yeah, well, Lynn Kane was the all-time leading rusher from that position at USC. He rushed for about 900 yards.
2nd down and 6 as Riggs is back in the lineup. This is Riggs. Bringing it out. Against NFL pursuit, that'll never work.
That's really what it was. He should have made it move somewhere. It looked like me, O.J., quicker along the line, and that's not going to break, so you try to just get as much out of it as you can.
Well, he wanted to cut back. He saw Monty Coleman pursuing, and he still could have gotten to the line of scrimmage and maybe gotten more if he would have broke a tackle, but you start looking for the easy way once you go over 100 yards, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's right.
3rd down and 8, the ball at the 20-yard line. Moravsky will have to put it in the air.
I didn't know you guys did stuff like that.
Yeah, you say you got 100 yards, and then you kind of go into a lull for a while.
I just don't believe that. You're being a team player and all, I just don't believe that.
Moravsky's going to have to hurry. We're down to 10 seconds as Moravsky comes up to the line of scrimmage. That is the 30-second clock. He gets it off, 3rd and 8.
Good move.
He'll get close to the first down. He has it inside the 10. Mike Moravsky, with no receiver open, pulled it down, gets the first down. It'll be first down, goal to go.
Not that he was terribly splendid in doing that, but I do think that's another little dimension that he might add that Bartkowski just really doesn't like to run, so Mike's going to think that's a good little move right there.
And it wasn't that he had another choice.
That's right.
It was getting very crowded.
Big Dexter caught up with him from the back, but not in time. He got him a big first down there.
Well, when you're not accustomed to running, you see everybody, and he was running, and I guess he saw Dexter, even though Dexter Manley was behind him, and he put the ball away.
They have marked it just short of the 10-yard line. Bailey, top of your screen. Riggs.
All right.
All right.
He does run hard. Ran right over Ken Coffey.
Got to a great block from Cliff Benson. Once again, trapping the guy over the center.
Boy, has this character of this game changed when Moravsky came in, got that 83-yard drive, and this team is a different football team.
See 87 go by. He had a block right there. He comes in right behind it. He picks up a good block on Ken Coffey, and he runs over Ken Coffey.
That was a nicely executed play, wasn't it?
Well, I'll tell you, he'll make defensive backs take up other occupations. Lucker's on to tie it up.
It's those passes that is making this running game happen right now.
They've got a tied football game and a critical game for the Washington Redskins in the NFC East. And Atlanta playing with pride tonight and playing it very tough. Another Atlanta scoring drive executed by good athletic ability on the part of Moravsky. He got trapped in there, was able to amble out for a first down, and then the good hard running of Darrell Riggs. So we've got a tied football game.
The one that Riggs broke on that short yardage situation was the one that really kind of opened them up.
32-yard pickup on a third down and less than a yard. Mike Nelms is deep. Keith Griffin is back there. And Luckhurst to kick off. He gets it up there high. Good kick to put Nelms in the corner. And Nelms out over the 25. Scrambles up close to the 27-yard line. And I'll remind you, it is election eve. Get out tomorrow and vote. That's what we can all do. And then tomorrow night, watch the election night coverage right here on ABC. Peter Jennings, David Brinkley, and all of our news people from around the country. Washington, first down, just inside their own 26-yard line. They've got a different football team on their hands right now. Play action by Theismann. Gets it to Didier. And Didier out of bounds, short of the first down, near the 32-yard line. We're going to pause 5 seconds and allow our stations to identify themselves.
Channel 4, WTAE-TV, Pittsburgh.
At RFK Stadium in the nation's capital, it's 14-14. At one point, it was 14-0 the Redskins. Bartkowski was injured, the quarterback for Atlanta. Went out of the game. Mike Moravsky came in and took the Falcons 83 yards for a touchdown. He has done it here in the opening moments of the second half. We are tied at 14 in a critical game for the Redskins. Riggins, left side, in the arms of Whitemore, carries him, but not, I don't believe, for enough yardage for the first down.
Well, this Falcon team, you know, they came into this game 26 in stopping the run. That's not too good, but what they've had happen to them is that they played some pretty decent run defense, but they get backs like Dickerson, who would start inside, he'd bounce outside, and they're not that good in stopping that run from bouncing outside, but up in tight there, as we saw in the second half against the game against the Rams, they were able to stop Dickerson, and they're pretty good against a team like this, where the running game is normally between the tackles.
Third and less than a yard. They have been tough inside, as O.J. mentioned. Reagan surges for the first down.
Kuykendall got there about as soon as he could, and Riggins just had his steam up, carried him for the first down.
Well, Kuykendall from UCLA is a lot like the big Hacksaw Reynolds with the 49ers. He's a hitter, and he's the type of guy you don't want to look across that line on short yardage situation. As a matter of fact, he's the kind of guy that hits so hard, he's knocked himself out of a number of games. But he's one of those short yardage guys who takes a hole, and he'll make you pay the price for that 1 yard.
Riggins on the night, 45 yards on 17 extremely tough carries. First and 10, the Redskins inside their own 38. Theismann with play action. One in Art Monk deep, and he's in trouble. Down he goes. It was Don Smith, who was playing quite a football game tonight for Atlanta. That's his second sack of the night.
And once again, we mentioned earlier, they almost got a one-receiver offense, and that's Art Monk. So you got to think, hey, looking at Don Smith there, you got to think when downtown Charlie Brown gets back, which may not be for a few weeks.
I think they'll have him back probably in a couple of weeks, Don. They're anticipating it.
I don't understand it too much, but they got 3 moves left on their injured reserve thing.
3 out of 5, and you can count on them bringing Joe Washington back with one, Charlie Brown with the other.
Well, they need Joe Washington.
And they need Charlie Brown.
That's the time remaining in the third quarter. Second down and 24. Theismann in trouble again, and he goes down inside the 20 near the 18-yard line. And that time, David Fry, who was also playing a football game, was in there.
Yeah, he almost got himself in a little trouble. He did a little Mark Gastineau dance there for a minute. I'm sure his teammates are going to tell him to calm down. There's still a quarter and a half to go.
Yeah, this youngster, David Fry, out of Purdue in his second year, who replaced John Rady, has also played quite a game tonight. He's been everywhere.
He's not too big. He's only 213 pounds. But he plays a lot like Keena Turner. You know, Keena Turner from the 49ers. He plays that type of football game.
That's the man who's put the spark into Atlanta's offense. Third down now and 30. Washington has their hands full tonight. A lot of time.
And nobody's open.
It was 3rd and 30. Joe, very wisely, knowing he has no chance, steps out of bounds. The crowd, unthinkingly, I think, abusing Theismann.
Well, what a difference. A couple of quarters make. Now then, these guys are going to get the ball in pretty good field position. And the way they've moved it the last 2 times they've had it, one would think they'll be able to do it again.
That's Kenny Johnson. He had a 12-2 average as a rookie 4 years ago when he returned punts. They brought him in tonight. Willie Curran was not effective. Of course, Billy White Shoes Johnson, having gone out 4 weeks ago, one of the better return men in the league, but he's unavailable. Jeff Hayes to punt. And Jeff Hayes with another beauty. Flag is down at the line of scrimmage. Here comes Kenny Johnson.
Put the ball away.
Johnson out over the 32, but again, a flag down at the line of scrimmage. That was a beautiful punt by Jeff Hayes. And he's punted well tonight. 57 yards he got out of that.
Seems like every time they have a kick, a punt, they always have a little pushing match at the end of it. The special teams people are really fired up, aren't they?
The referee once again tonight, Red Cashin.
Base man.
Against Atlanta. And I think they're trying to decide before or after.
Well, the guy he's talking to was the guy that they got him earlier for a holding when the Redskins were receiving a punt. That's Wansley.
Well, normally when you get a face mask on a play like that, somebody's trying to block an outside guy and he's pushing him at the line of scrimmage and he may shove him around the face, around the head.
Red Cashin will explain this. Obviously, there are a couple of options because Wansley...
Face mask for 5 yards. Number 25 on the defense.
Yep.
That penalty is declined. It'll be first down at 10.
All right. The Falcons have the football. Penalty declined. They're at their own 32-yard line, and they are in command at the moment. The Redskins injuries. Charlie Brown, Joe Washington. Just reiterate that Atlanta is playing the entire season without the great William Andrews, who had over 1,500 yards rushing and over 600 yards passing a year ago. They also playing without Billy White Shoes Johnson. They represented half of the offense for Atlanta last year. On first down, this man, Riggs, who is over 120 yards on the night rushing, moves out over the 35 to the 36 for a gain of 5.
O.J., these guys that we talked about, the Redskin defense, they're really tough against the run, and particularly the last 3-4 times that Atlanta's had the ball, they've been able to run. Do you see anything that the defense is doing that maybe they weren't doing?
Well, it's the pass. You know, you look at the Redskins defense, their problem isn't their secondary. They just don't have the real good linebackers who play the run well. Play the pass well, and they've been running play-action pass at those guys. Got them a little concerned about getting to their passing zones, and now they're running the ball on them.
Second down and 5. Play action. Morawski got it batted away again. Redskins cover it. That's the middle linebacker, Okowitz.
Oh, boy.
That's twice now the ball has been batted away. They were able to get back to the first one. Now there's a scramble going on. We've had tempers flaring all night. But the Redskins cover it with middle linebacker Neil Okowitz. Big turnover for the Redskins. The flag is now 2 flags are down. He could have a personal foul working.
Well, it's going to be the Redskin ball no matter what, I think, because
the flag came after the recovery.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 71 on the white. Unnecessary roughness. Number 52 on the red. Penalties offset. First down.
After the recovery.
First down, Washington. They're at the 33-yard line of Atlanta. Morosky bitterly complaining, but he leaves the field.
Occurred after the ball was recovered and dead.
Morosky knew that. He just wanted to hear that. Take a look at Morosky from the reverse angle.
As you know, they just did a little fake run to hold the linebackers, but the linebackers are blitzing.
That's Kaufman.
And it looked as if he was passing, but I think he was trying to hold up his throw, and that's what the official...
Washington's best field position of the night. Riggins, counter right. And stopped at the line of scrimmage. The first man up there, little Bobby Butler, at 175 pounds, taking on the 240-pound John Riggins.
He looked slow that time.
Hesitating.
Yeah.
Well, he's not accustomed to running outside as much as he's been forced to tonight.
Yeah.
And that's a tribute to the Falcons. They've been tearing it up inside. Saying if you're going to get some yards here tonight, you're going to have to take it outside. And without Joe Washington, the Redskins, they do not run outside as well.
5 minutes remaining in the third quarter, and the clock is moving. We're tied at 14. Critical game for the Redskins. Didier in motion. Theismann. Muhammad, the flag is down. The ball is loose.
Fumble, Atlanta's got it.
No. Mohammed has it.
Does it?
Muhammad
But
came
what
up with the
happened
ball.
before
The
then?
flag is down.
I think Atlanta covered that ball.
Again,
the flag is going to be the
tonight, Red Cassius.
Holding. Number 23 on the defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
Bobby Butler, the cornerback, was holding Calvin Muhammad.
That's 2 for Bobby tonight. Let's take another look at it.
You have to respect the speed of this man. He's got him by the jersey.
Yeah. I think he was holding him just to stay up. You know, I don't think he was really trying to hold him, but he would have fell down if he didn't.
First down is at the 17-yard line. Reagan flips back to the middle, gets inside the 15. 2.5, 3 yards. Call it second down and 7. Again, a makeshift Redskin line because of the knee injury of George Stark. He could come in as a backup man where if necessary, but tonight Mark May had to move from right guard to right tackle. Ken Huff had to come in at left guard, and of course, Pro Bowler Jeff Bostic was lost with the knee for the rest of the season. So Dick Donnelly, acquired from Pittsburgh earlier, is at center. Second and 7. Boom, boom, boom. John Reagan at his vintage best at 35 years old. To the 4. 10 tough yards.
They're tough yards. You got to give Riggins credit. At 35 years old, you know, he's about 100 yards away from going over 1,000 yards, and he would be at that time the oldest runner to ever go over 1,000 yards. He's 35 and 4 months, and I think the guy who was the oldest before that was John Henry Johnson.
That's right.
And he was 35 and 1 month.
He is the 5th leading rusher of all time. The next man he would overtake would be in the booth with us, O.J. Simpson. He needs about 900 yards for that. Riggins. Look at that. Down inside the 1. He's in the arms of Kuykendall. He just carried Kuykendall with him.
Well, Big Riggo has the feeling right now.
Boy, these Redskins fans love this kind of football. Well, they should. It's taken them to 2 Super Bowls in the last 2 years.
Well, he's kind of broken out these last 2 or 3 times. He really has not run wild against the Falcons tonight. They pretty well zeroed in on John. Stopped him down here once before.
Second and goal. Let's listen. Redskins have their arms up, but we do not get it from the official. It'll be marked short. It'll be 3rd down and goal.
That was a heck of an effort by Riggins because he was hit in the backfield, did a little tap dance to shimmy his way up to the line of scrimmage, and he appeared from here that he fell over the line of scrimmage. I mean, over the goal line.
Riggins does get into this. Remember, on 4th down, the ball in just about this situation earlier in the game, Theismann faked to Riggins, bootlegged it for the touchdown. I believe he'll give it to Riggins once again. Touchdown, John Riggins at his very best, just bullying over Atlanta tacklers. The 137th consecutive sellout here at RFK Stadium. And they've had so much to cheer about. The teams of Vince Lombardi. Then it was George Allen, who took the Redskins to the first Super Bowl back in 1972. Then there were the slack years. Then there's been Joe Gibbs. Off of Mosley's foot, and he kicked Theismann in the hand.
He sure did.
Theismann, who had his left thumb taped, having sprained it in practice, gets kicked now by Mark Mosley. Theismann may have had trouble getting it down with that sprained left thumb. I'm not so sure they should be using another holder.
He was trying to pull the ball up and run with it. He saw that he had dropped it there.
Well, game takes a lot of different curves. That's a strange one. We'll be back. Has made the score 20-14. Sylvester Stamps, the speedster, the rookie from Jackson State, at the goal line, awaiting the kickoff of Jeff Hayes.
Sylvester came into this game the leading kickoff return man in the NFC, over 26 yards of return.
Airmail Stamps. That's a good name for him.
Well, let's see if he can get flying here.
Hayes, short but very high. From the 10, Stamps.
There's a hole.
The hole, and it closed so quickly. The special teams of the Redskins are very tough. I think Theismann's all right. They're working it out over there. Mosley said, hey, man, you're going to run it. Just give me the word. Take a look at the Redskins scoring drive. And so much of it, the big man, John Riggins.
And so much of it because they got that turnover right there. Look, they didn't have to go very far that time.
Yeah, the only thing that has stopped the Falcons since the middle of the second quarter has been the Falcons. They've done an excellent job here. If they cannot turn the ball over, we can expect to see them back in the end zone.
Give an assist to the Redskins defense. They forced a turnover when they hit Mike Morawski trying to pass. 1:33 remaining in the third quarter. Morawski, he's trying to get it to Benson, the rookie from Purdue, incomplete. Rich Malott was back there stride for stride with Benson, who goes about 235. Put it H-back out of the backfield.
But the important thing is Morawski had plenty of time to throw the football. One of the advantages the Falcons have in this game is that Mike Kinn and R.C. Tillman are two Pro Bowlers who play on their left side, and they're playing against the side of the Washington Redskins defense that's the best pass rushers than Dexter Manley and Monty Coleman. So their strength is going against Washington's strength.
2nd down and 10. That's Bailey, top of your screen. Riggs spins, puts it up again, and covered quickly, and I believe Atlanta has it back. That's Riggs bobbling once again. He's had trouble over the past few weeks. He's fumbled 6 times in the previous 2 games, or rather now in 3 games. He lost it again right here.
Yeah, you can see he's fighting for the extra yards. They had that trap play. He should have stayed with the trap number 87 over there, but he decided to ad-lib a little bit, and he's fighting for extra yards, and he was very lucky to get this fumble back. The Redskins are just about the best team in football in recovering fumbles. Coming into the game, they had recovered 35 of the 47 of their opponent's fumbles.
Trickle right through the arms of Rich Malott. Atlanta has it back, 3rd down and 10. Final seconds, 3rd quarter. Well, were they drawn off or not? A couple of the defensive linemen both moved simultaneously, Brooks and Manley.
Yes, Dexter didn't wait around to find out.
Yeah, Dexter's saying he was drawn off. No. Against the Redskins. That'll make it 3rd down and 5.
That helped.
They'd only made one 3rd down and 10 up until this one, so that's going to give a shot at 3rd and 5.
Offside, number 72 on the defense, still 3rd down.
Watching a really hard-hitting football game, and boy, there's a lot on the line in this one. Denver can run and get out of sight there if the Raiders don't pull things together. They got swamped by Chicago yesterday. Seattle has now had 2 consecutive shutouts. They are tough.
That defensive line, Jacob Green and Jeff Bryant, Joe Nash.
Oh, boy, wasn't Jacob Green something in San Diego last week?
The defense scored 4 touchdowns yesterday. They're doing all right.
3rd down and 5.
Look out.
Morosky.
Look out.
And he will not scramble for this one as he did earlier. He's buried at the 30-yard line. Rich Malott, Tom Beasley, they were all there.
Beasley made a good move. He kind of went for that low area. Got his knees out from under him.
Well, they brought a lot of guys, and the Falcons did a good job of stopping the initial charge. And as you know, down a quarterback, he'd have to throw it quick in a situation like that or take off.
That's it.
Mike Helms is deep. He has, over the years, since coming from Canada in 1980, come up with some great clutch returns. Never seems to break the big ones. But he does it when they need it. And I'll tell you, Jacques Amaro has driven Nels all the way back to the 12-yard line.
Well, you don't want
Nels with a good return out to the 35-yard line. He took that ball at the 12-yard line, skipped his way through some defenders, got a little bit of an opening, and the Redskins have good field position. That was a 58-yard punt.
Well, you call it. He's one of the best there is in running punts back, and you call it, Frank, he skipped his way. What he does so well is he never stops moving his feet. He takes those little tiny steps. He's not that fast, really, but he keeps his feet moving in traffic.
Gotta have good peripheral vision, too.
Well, you got to see.
You got to see.
Just another Bobby Beathard find. Bobby Beathard, the general manager. This team is made up of 25 free agents, 8 trades, and 16 draft picks. Credit that to the general manager, Bobby Beathard. Seems to always be able to pull the right man out. 1st and 10, Theismann in trouble. And gets out of it and picks up 5 yards in doing so. Rick Bryant finally takes him out of bounds as time runs out here in the 3rd quarter. Washington leading Atlanta 20-14, and we'll return for the 4th quarter after this word from our local stations.
Sunday, Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor, they're stir crazy.
Yeah.
Parental discretion advised.
Say what?
Then Steve Allen's back. With John Ritter, Burt Reynolds, and more for a new life's most embarrassing moments, all starting at 8/7 Central. Sunday.
Well, I worked all my life, paid in. Then when I needed it, it's not there.
You can decide how she lives and whether he works.
In the steel industry, in the industrial area in the United States, we're hurting.
You can speak for those who cannot yet speak for themselves. Tuesday, your vote does matter. For all of us. Mondale, Democrat for president.
Alan Erdl. He paid no federal income tax for 2 years while he served in Congress and earned over $160,000. That's correct. Alan Erdl, who now wants to be our top law enforcement official, paid no federal income tax at all for 2 years in a row. It's not right, and it's another reason to re-elect Attorney General Roy Zimmerman. Roy Zimmerman's a career prosecutor who's done an outstanding job as Pennsylvania's Attorney General, and he pays his taxes.
Coming up tonight on Action News, the time for campaigning is over. Now it's up to the voters to decide who will be our next president. Details of today's last-minute campaigning on Action News following Monday Night Football.
We begin the 4th quarter. The Redskins looking for a win tonight to join the Giants, St. Louis, Dallas, in a lock at the top of the Eastern Division of the NFC. They have a 2nd down and 5 at their own 40-yard line. Theismann gets the ball out to number 85, that's Don Warren, and Warren has 1st down yardage. I want to remind you, coming up on Nightline with Ted Koppel, a special pre-election roundtable discussion with ABC Sam Donaldson, Britt Hume, Sander Van Oker, Hal Bruno, and Jeff Greenfield. That's tonight on Nightline, following your late local news on most of these ABC stations. And, of course, tomorrow night be with us for election night coverage Peter Jennings will be joined by David Brinkley. And how many elections have you listened that involve David Brinkley? First down at the 47-yard line. Theismann back. Gets it to Art Monk, and Monk scrambles up to the 45-yard line of Atlanta, short of the first down by a couple.
Nice block by Riggins that time. Picked up a blitzing at either a safety or a linebacker. Did a good job, John.
Halftime stats, and then we will dissolve this to the third quarter stats. Turnovers equal at 2. Redskins got their last go-ahead touchdown. As a result, a sack on Morosky. And there it is reflected. And that is the difference in the game. The conversion was missed, so Atlanta only trails by 6. Second and 2. Riggins running into Gary Burley, but not until he picks up the first down near the 42-yard line. Riggins had tough sledding in the early going of tonight's game, but it's almost as if the offensive makeshift line of these Redskins is starting to get the feel of each other out there. They're opening some pretty good gaps for him now.
Well, you know, you call them a makeshift line. They may be makeshift in that they're out of position, but they're all quality football players.
And veterans.
First down, Theismann looks it over. Riggins doing his thing down to the 35-yard line, and that right side, Mark May, Ken Huff, really blew away the left side of Atlanta's defensive line.
Now, I said earlier about the line of scrimmage sometime being 3 yards from where the ball is snapped. Well, this is the case. He goes 3 yards before he can even get to a defensive player.
Got a little head of steam up,
I tell you, when he gets there, he's smoking.
I saw that stat, though. He's only averaged before that run 2.9 per carry. So they're giving him the ball a lot. He's got to be getting a little time.
Second down and 4. Theismann, Calvin Muhammad. Where will they mark it? They'll mark it for a first down.
Well, it's been those quick passes, especially those little flat passes to the tight end that has opened up the middle for the running game, because all of those linebackers now are trying to stay closer to those tight ends.
You know that the Raiders did not want to let Calvin Muhammad go. They drafted him the 12th round back in 1980. They had him around. They always did like him. Last year, only 13 receptions. He just couldn't get into that lineup, but he averaged just under 20 yards. He has great speed. First and 10 at the 31-yard line of Atlanta. Art Monk, the same play we saw a few moments ago with the same result.
And if that's the play that the linebackers have to stop, you cannot have your cornerbacks try to stop that play, especially when you're playing partial zone defense. And it's that play that's opened up the running game. And on that reception, Art Monk takes over the NFL lead from Ozzie Newsome.
Theismann now 10 of 21.
Kind of figuring that might have even been an audible. He stayed a little bit over the ball, stayed over the ball a bit long that time. Art does this really well, doesn't he? He keeps fighting that extra yard.
58 receptions for Art Monk now.
He is about a foot short of the first down. Here comes the defense. This time, Riggins is held short. He'll lose yardage, or perhaps a foot or 2 feet. Mike Pitts hit the Riggins, stood him up, and he got help from his friends.
John saying, give me a break.
That'll be third down. And in comes another tight end, Anthony Jones, a rookie from Wichita State. Joins Didier, Don Warren. And this is when you wish you had a little microphone down there at the middle of that line of scrimmage, because it really gets noisy. Riggins, first down inside the 20-yard line. John Riggins still has some pretty nifty moves.
Inside the tackles, he still is as good as any running back playing today. He doesn't get outside as well as he once did, but, I mean, you know, he's a pretty fast man. You know, he's a 2-time 100-yard dash champ in high school in the state of Kansas. He's run under 10 seconds flat for a 100-yard dash.
He had a high school timing of 9.7. I remember when he came up to the Jets, you couldn't believe it. He was so big.
With this offensive line, he is too tough inside the tackle.
First and 10 at the 20.
And occasionally outside.
Very good. Crowd really loves it here, too.
You're right, though. Not often does he seem to go out there.
Well, he went out there that time because the offensive line just blew everybody away, and there was nobody in front of him.
And into Falcon as Riggins goes for 9. We'll look at it again.
Don, with your knees, you may have gained, 2 or 3 yards on this one. Once again, that's an offensive line that did an excellent job. The defensive players don't even get to him until he's 5 yards downfield.
You saw him hit number 56.
56 hit 58, I think it was, Frank.
And this is David Fry, I believe.
58, I believe. Yeah, David Fry.
But Riggins ran right through Al Richardson, who had a great shot at him. He was a punishing runner. The injured Atlanta Falcon, David Fry. It'll be 2nd and 2 when we come back.
This is Chevrolet Corvette.
You've never seen anything like this before.
A Corvette superb in its engineering and defiant in its performance.
Never before.
Corvette performance you won't believe. And a digital information center you can't ignore. This is your Corvette, America. Technology. That's today's Chevrolet.
Well, I worked all my life. Paid in. Then when I need it, it's not there.
You can decide how she lives and whether he works.
In the steel industry, in the industrial area in the United States, we're hurting.
You can speak for those who cannot yet speak for themselves. Tuesday, your vote does matter for all of us. Mondale, Democrat for president.
Next week on Monday Night Football, AFC West playoff hopefuls go at it when the 7-3 Raiders take on the 8-2 Seahawks, live at 9 Eastern on ABC.
10:01 remaining here in the ball game. The Washington Redskins had lost their momentum in the early going here in the second half, but they now have behind the great running as John Riggins pulled it back together. Theismann looking over a 2nd down and 2. The 11th play in this drive has started at their own 35-yard line. Riggins just banging away, blowing them out now, the offensive line. And Riggins will have a 1st down goal to go at the 7-yard line. And there's the youngster David Fry that they looking at the left arm, I think.
He was hit really by Al Richardson. He was trying to hit Riggins. That happens a lot. One player will hit another one.
Quite frankly, as we looked at him on the turf initially, we thought it was a shoulder injury. Redskins now have the clock down inside 10 minutes.
I think they got a pretty wide set for a goal line defense.
1st down, goal to go.
Look out, boy.
Theismann fires one, gets it complete. Great catch, Calvin Muhammad. That ball had smoke on it.
He got it off just in time, too, didn't he?
Oh, he was about to be sacked. Got Muhammad on the slant in. Hard to cover when you throw it like Theismann had it. Had it down low with a lot of speed on it. Calvin Muhammad, 12th round pick of the Raiders in 1980 out of Texas Southern. He makes a good effort here.
You see number 37, Kenny Johnson's come. He's a safety with blitzing. But Theismann, being the pro that he is, probably realized he didn't have much time.
Mosley with Theismann holding. And the Redskins can take a deep breath for a moment with 8:59 remaining. We'll be right back.
This camping trip was a good idea. Yeah, it sure is relaxing. Peaceful. Groovy. Groovy? Kind of dark, though. Man, I'm getting thirsty. Yeah, let's have another light beer from Miller. Light glass filling! Let's What was that? The creature. What creature? Well, legend has it that a horrible thing stalks these woods.
Oh, Mickey!
And it comes out when the moon is full. What does this creature look like? It walks on 2 legs, but it isn't human. Got big eyes that bulge out and...
It's the great guy! Hey, guys, where you going? Hey, guys, where are the marshmallows?
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Come on, it's after us! Man, did you see that thing?
A golden night as U.S. Olympic boxing medalists make their pro debut. Breland, Whitaker, Taylor, Holyfield, and Biggs. Thursday night, November 15th, live on ABC.
Sylvester Stamps is flanked by Cliff Austin and Kenny Johnson as they await the kickoff of Jeff Hayes.
All right.
It's up.
What's up by Greg Williams?
Greg Williams made a tremendous diving tackle, upending Stamps. So Atlanta starts deep in their own territory at the 12-yard line. They love it here in Washington.
When an alkaline battery goes dead, you throw it away and buy a new one. This is a GE rechargeable. When it goes dead, you recharge it. It costs more than batteries you throw away, but lasts up to 4 years. Use 10 hours a week, this toy would use over 300 long-life batteries to just 2 GE rechargeables. So if you're still throwing away batteries, you're throwing away a lot of money.
This is
Washington Redskin football. Big John Riggins powering behind. Good blast blocking. And this is how it transpired, with finally Theismann hitting Calvin Muhammad for the touchdown. 27-14, and Atlanta begins with their worst field position of the night. They start at their 12 when Morawski replaced Steve Bartkowski in the second quarter. He started at the 17 and took them 83 yards to a touchdown. He needs one desperately now. Morawski fires to Bailey, is complete for a first down out near the 26-yard line. Again, a reminder, it's election night eve, rapidly approaching here in the East. Election day. Get out and vote. And watch the results right here on ABC tomorrow night with Peter Jennings and David Brinkley and our ABC News team.
Well, too bad these Falcons have been struggling. A few turnovers. They'd be right in this football game. They've been moving the ball, and they've been getting time to throw the ball.
Bailey in motion. Riggs. Riggs. It's out of bounds. Bringing it out of the defensive play of the Washington Redskins.
They're trying to get it together over the sideline. You got Kenny Johnson. Say, we got to stop him next time. Right, Moore?
Kenny Johnson said, I was almost there. Just about had Theismann before he threw it.
Riggs got one. It'll be second down and 9. And a little bit of a wave attempt here at Washington. They haven't got it down too good.
We'll see one next week in Seattle.
Morawski.
That's nice blocking.
And Morawski fires it to Bailey. He made a tremendous catch. All over him was Vernon Dean.
Morawski looks rather comfortable and confident in that pocket. He had some good blocking that time, but watch him. He takes this snap, looks over his right, comes back down the middle, and one little step up. That's poise in there. That ball's right where it has to be, too.
Nice, pretty spiral. And Bailey, good concentration. Vernon Dean breathing down his neck.
Always been impressed with people that can throw a spiral.
Bailey has 6 receptions, 80 yards. He gets the first down at the 43-yard line.
They're starting their 2-minute drill a little bit early, looks like to me, but that's all right. Go for it.
Gonna run out of time here almost.
Complete once again.
Another first.
And once again to Bailey. And another first down. Morawski and Bailey teaming up.
That ball was fumbled.
That ball may have been fumbled. Poor Bailey. You're talking about a guy, once again, Stacey Bailey only weighs 157 pounds, and I'm sure that's what he weighed in when the season began. And he just got caught in a vice that time, 2 defensive backs.
That's his season's best. He has tried that. He has been the Falcons' leading receiver in terms of yardage. Last year he had 55 receptions, but he led the team in total yardage.
He missed 2 games with those 55 receptions from San Jose State. Played for Jack Elway out there.
Did he really?
Yeah.
8 of 13 for Morosky, now 95 yards. Good play by Dave Buck as he just clotheslined Gerald Riggs. There was a loss of a couple.
Big Dave guessed right that time. He shot the gap.
Is that what he did?
Yeah, he shot the gap.
Shot the gap. What
shot
gap?
the gap. Watch it. Well, inside. Between that guard and tackle. I'm telling you.
They shoot the gap. You wonder what the offensive line are doing. I mean, aren't they supposed to keep them from shooting the gap?
Well, they left. The gap was too big.
There's a loss of 2. It's second down and 12. Inside 6 minutes, the clock is moving against Atlanta.
They're shooting the gap again.
Morosky looking for Bailey, and just out of reach. He had made a good move on Vernon Dean, had him turned around, and Morosky under pressure. He went down after he released it. Just did not have time to set it up properly.
That's a pretty big gamble, as a matter of fact, on if you'll notice, there's nobody back there to help him. They sent some linebackers. That was just a little fake into the inside, turned Vernon around. Morosky didn't have quite enough time that time to lay that one up for Stacey Bailey. Might have pulled that one down.
Third down and 12 now. Bailey goes right, picked up there by Gerald Green defensively. Riggs on a 3rd and 12.
Now that's great.
Atlanta has to be thinking 4 downs to get the first. They'll go again. It's short by about 4. So it'll be 4th down and 4, and we'll see the offensive unit stay on.
Well, that's more of a defensive move that they're keeping the offense on. There's still, well, I can't say there's plenty of time in the game, but the way Washington has been running the football at them, there's very little chance of the Falcons getting the ball back at least twice, and they have to score twice to win.
They're in a 4th down mode, if you will. 4th and 3 against the weak pass defense and a tough defense against the run. Morosky's in a lot of trouble. Myers, incomplete. He had it in there. A good defensive play by Curtis Jordan.
I really thought he had that one. That was not a bad throw, though, was it?
Yeah, but Cliff Benson, the intended receiver, and he was well covered as Morosky rolling the opposite way for a right-hand passer.
No, that's Stacey Bailey, and once again, he doesn't have the body mass at 150-something pounds. And these guys are hitting him in his back. So hold on to that ball.
Defensive coverage by Washington. They get the ball back with 4:49 remaining in the game. 1st and 10 at their own 39-yard line.
IBM presents You Make the Call. A pass is intercepted by Bengal Bobby Kemp, who is touched by an opponent at the 1 and then slides into the end zone from his own momentum. Now you make the call. Where do you spot the ball?
In these modern times, even the best manager needs help to succeed. For when pressure builds, it becomes harder to keep things rolling without losing control and falling behind. A manager could use the IBM personal computer for smoother scheduling and greater productivity. It can help a manager become a big wheel in the company. The IBM personal computer at a store near you.
What call did you make? The ball is spotted at its foremost point in the field of play when the interceptor was touched by an opponent. In this case, at the 1-yard line.
Curtis Jordan, who is filling in for an injured Mark Murphy, one of the other Redskins we have perhaps not mentioned tonight that has been out with an injury. He made a great play against Stacey Bailey. The Redskins have the ball back. 1st and 10, the ball at their own 39. Theismann, Calvin Mohammed stays in bounds, and the clock continues to move. 4:40, and meanwhile, Atlanta has 3 timeouts, as does Washington.
Listen up. This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the National Football League is prohibited.
That's your best ever. That truly is your best. Right,
I got better.
Well,
I got more coming.
Dedication.
Muhammad got 7. His second down and 3. And you saw Muhammad staying in bounds, keeping that clock moving. Riggins.
Boom, boom, boom.
Surged up there maybe for a couple of feet. It'll be third down. And call it 3.
Yeah, over 100 yards. Gerald Riggs right there against the number 2 rated defense in football against the rush.
Look at his average. Five a carry. That's not bad, is it?
And the big man had quite a good ball game.
Yeah, one of the guys he had to run against, Big Dave Buck.
Dave says he didn't want anybody to sit by him on the bench. That's the reason why he's over there by himself. He wants that whole bench by himself.
Jeff Moore comes in. That's Jeff Moore, the setback. He'll do what Joe Washington ordinarily would do. He'll work out of the backfield on this 3rd and 3.
He's open. Go for it, Joe.
Heisman.
Oh, I don't know.
He may have gone
Short
down too
of
early.
the first down.
He has gone down a tad too early, I think.
May have.
Tizer pushes the ball forward. Defender pushes the ball back.
4th down.
I'd say he's a battler. He will fight you all the way down the line.
I think he also is a little disappointed because all he had to do was just look at that. He said, wait a minute, I'm not going to walk off until you measure it. I do think he's a little bit short, though.
He's going to get his measurement, but I do believe he's short.
Well, he's 6'1", isn't he?
Yeah. That's good, Jude.
Been hanging around you, Don.
Heisman a few inches short.
He lied about it. He's only just a little over 6.
And the Redskins will have to punt in Fort Atlanta. They'll have 2:56 remaining. Out comes Jeff Hayes. He's had quite a night. 2 good punters tonight. Giacomo for Atlanta and Jeff Hayes. His average on the night, 50 plus. There's Kenny Johnson. Billy Whiteshoes went out 4 weeks ago against the Rams. He was averaging 10 yards a return for Atlanta. They've averaged just over 2 since his injury. Kenny Johnson, as a rookie, averaged over 12 yards, but that was 4 years ago. There's Kenny Johnson.
Well, he's one of the Johnson boys anyway, so maybe some of it will rub off. Hang loose back there, Kenny.
That's Jeff Hayes taking it down to the second.
That is it.
That's him.
That is it.
Kenny Johnson at the 15, and he was hammered there. He did not call for the fair catch, so you saw the move, but they'll bring it back.
That's a turn out the lights. The party's over. They say that all good things must end. That was really a silly mistake.
That's nowhere near your best.
Bruce Geisen got himself in there a little early. And the offsides will give the Redskins a first down with 2:20 remaining in the game. And as the lights dim, if they don't go out, it does look as though Dan Henning will drop to 3-7. The Redskins will join the Giants, the Cardinals, and Dallas, all at 6-4 on top of the NFC East.
Offside, right in on the defense, first down.
And once again for Joe Gibbs, he looks ahead, if there's any such thing as looking ahead to some easier opponents. Joe Gibbs has Detroit, then Philadelphia, Buffalo, and Minnesota. Now they're all under 500. And as I mentioned once before, Joe Gibbs, while head coach of the Redskins, is 18-0 against teams under 500. Riggins, he works on the clock. Gets a yard. It'll be second down and 9. We'll see the Redskins in that Minnesota game. And of course, next Monday night, Seattle and the Raiders. You don't want to miss that one. Atlanta uses a timeout, stops the clock with 2:06. So they will get the advantage of the 2-minute warning.
Dexter's glad to be back in town. Dexter says, I'm feeling better and better and better. I think they've missed him a little bit.
He is one of the ones that has been hurt.
Had his work cut out for him tonight going up against Mike Ken, all a Pro Bowler the last 4 years.
Joe Theismann, he is excitable.
They call him Joe Jawlock around here for a while because he wouldn't talk to anybody. Lockjaw Joe, I guess that's what it was. He's kind of loosened up a little bit.
Hey, it's something you have to admire. what the man has done. 3 years in Canada, came in 74, sat around and waited until Billy Kilmer worked his way into retirement. Came on and has shown incredible development. A year ago, NFL Player of the Year, has led a team that set an NFL point record of 541 points. Quite a young man.
Tough competitor, he really is.
Second down and 8. Riggins will get a workout.
I think they'll throw this one.
Here it goes. Riggins, first down. Inside the 35. First down, Redskins. And we'll get the 2-minute warning. Colton Kuykendall defensively there for Atlanta. Atlanta, a team that has played, considering their injuries, some good football tonight.
I have taken on many fighters.
Atlanta, the Redskins on top, 27-14. At one point, they led 14-0. Atlanta battled back to tie it at 14. Now the Redskins have opened it up. Out of the way, it'll be 2nd and 10, and we'll remind you, the executive producer, our assistants to the producer, Tony Tortorisi and Charlie Weisman. Stats tonight by Joe Cox, our spotter, of course, Steve Bazika. On 2nd and 10, Riggins works the left side to the 30-yard line. A gain of 3. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
Well, we got to see Mike Morosky play tonight. If I'm pronouncing it correctly, Morosky. And I was rather impressed with him. What do you think, Juice?
I thought he did an excellent job. He had a few fumbles that hurt the team, but he was the guy that got them back in this football game. And without his performance, it would have been no football game, and he did the job. Came in and did it, Frank.
One timeout remaining for Atlanta. Redskins are going to win it, move into a tie with the Giants, the Cards, and Dallas in a bitter race here in the NFC Eastern Division. 3rd down and 7 for the Redskins.
That is it.
There's Riggins. Gets the first down inside the 25 near the 22. That's what he does the best.
Now that run will probably put Riggins near the 100-yard mark, if not over. And with that run, he ties Larry Brown for the record for 100-yard dashes. 100-yard games.
Yeah.
21.
That's what we were talking about a moment ago. That's the status right now. And for Washington, a bit of a breather, as I mentioned before, if you can call it that. They have Detroit, Philadelphia, Buffalo, Minnesota. And then things get a little heavy as they have to play Dallas and St. Louis. Dallas, of course, has lost so many in the division, and they have a tough schedule coming up. For Atlanta, well, you have to hope that they're going to get some of their key players back. They will not get William Andrews back, and of course, Billy White, Hughes, Johnson. They were their offense. And meanwhile, John Riggins, in working on the ticker, which is now down to 35 and moving, has gone over 100 yards on the night.
Of course, Riggins had other 100-yard games with the Jets, but he has 21 with the Redskins, and that ties the great Larry Brown.
Theismann getting rid of the clock. Washington will win it. They win it, handicapped, as the Atlanta Falcons are, with injuries. And for Joe Gibbs, another victory in the bank. And a great effort tonight on the part of the offensive line that had been made over. And they made a lot of openings for Riggins here in the second half. They gave Theismann the time he needed. Final word in a moment.